Dual Cultivation audiobook by Kevin Chapter 401. I know that you have been sleeping with my daughter. 3 hours have passed since the tournament began on the 5th day. For our next match, we have the Profound Blossom Sect in the Nine Beasts Hall. The two sect appeared on the stage and bowed to each other before being sent back by Dong. I won't be participating today, so don't let me down, Fang Zhelin said to the other disciples. Don't worry, Sister Fang. We can handle this by ourselves just fine. Sun Jingjing showed a confident smile. A few minutes later, it was decided that Sun Jingjing would fight for the Profound Blossom Sect first. Profound Blossom Art, Falling Petals. Profound Blossom Art, Blooming Blossoms. Profound Blossom Art, Petal Fury. The Profound Blossom Sect wins their 4th consecutive round, Dong announced after Sun Jingjing defeated her 4th opponent in a row. Go get them, Senior Apprentice Sister Sun. Beat them up, beat all of them. Show the world the prowess of our sect. The junior disciples cheered for her with a frenzied expression. This girl, it's only been a few days since she last fought, but it feels like she has gotten even stronger. Just what kind of training does she undergo at the Profound Blossom Sect? A middle-aged woman, presumably Sun Jingjing's mother, watched her fight with a dumbfounded expression. Besides that, what kind of training do you think they do? I only pray that he's a worthy man for her, said the middle-aged man beside her. The middle-aged woman looked at the disciples from the Profound Blossom Sect and said, I have been watching them this entire time, and that handsome young man seems to be the only male disciple they have. While his appearance definitely qualifies to be my little girl's partner, I'm not sure about his character. I have done some investigation on the Profound Blossom Sect, and it seems that he's currently the only male disciple that's in their sect after that incident. Besides him, who else would she be cultivating with? Said the middle-aged man. If that's the case, I must have a conversation with him later to see for myself whether he's worthy of our girl or not. You plan on accepting him into our family, but what about that matter? Who cares about the Yi family? I won't allow that ugly and lustful bastard to touch my daughter, even if it's the last thing I do. As Sun Jingjing's parents spoke of her future, Sun Jingjing herself secured another victory for the Profound Blossom Sect. After defeating half of the participants from Nine Beasts Hall by herself, Sun Jingjing stepped off the stage and said, I will leave the other half to you girls. Sometime later, Dong announced the results of the match. Congratulations to the Profound Blossom Sect for winning this match 10-7, entering the top 10 for this year's regional tournament. Senior Apprentice Sister Sun is simply too amazing. She managed to defeat 5 of them, whilst the rest of us could barely defeat even a single of them. The disciples sighed after a close victory. Good job, girls. There are only 3 more matches to win before we take this year's championship. Su Yang said to them with a smile. The disciples looked at him with a smile. Senior Apprentice Brother is really trying to win this tournament. We cannot disappoint him. After their match, the Profound Blossom Sect decided to return to the hotel. However, they were stopped by a couple wearing luxurious robes right as they left the Colosseum. When Sun Jingjing saw these 2 individuals, her eyes widened with shock. Father, Mother, what are you doing here? Sun Jingjing quickly approached them. Elder Sun's family. Liu Lanjai raised an eyebrow. They are Senior Apprentice Sister Sun's parents. They look very wealthy. The other disciples' interests were immediately piqued. Why wouldn't we be here for such a big event? We wanted to witness for ourselves the growth of our disobedient daughter, said her mother. By the way, where's your grandfather? I haven't seen him this entire time. Is he even in this city? The middle-aged man asked. Elder Sun is currently cultivating in seclusion at the hotel. It'll be at least a few more days until he comes out. Liu Lanjai stepped forward and said, You must be the sect master. Thank you for taking care of our daughter. It seems like she's become a formidable individual because of you. The father bowed to her. I didn't do anything to be worthy of your praises. If anything, you must thank Sect Master Su. He was the one who trained your daughter. Liu Lanjai pointed to Su Yang with her eyes. Sect Master Su. He's also a sect master. The couple were dumbfounded by this information, as they would have never expected such a young man to be a sect master. Your name is Su Yang, right? I know that you have been sleeping with my daughter, and I am here to see whether you are worthy of her or not. Sun Jingjing's mother stepped forward and said to him with a serious face, Mother, how can you say something so embarrassing in public? Sun Jingjing's face bloomed with redness after hearing her words, and when she looked around, the surrounding people were looking at them with faces of disbelief. Embarrassing? What's more embarrassing? A few words or the daughter of the Sun family being a disciple in a place like the Profound Blossom Sect? Even though I have warned you many times, you still followed your grandfather's footsteps. Do you have any idea how much shame you have brought to our family's name? Sun Jingjing's mother scolded her. Sun Jingjing was speechless for a moment before speaking back. What do you mean by that? Look at me now. I am a cultivator at the Earth Spirit Realm because of that decision. Even grandfather, who was the #1 genius in our family, was stuck in the true spirit realm for many decades before taking the Earth Advancement pill. How many people in this world are in the Earth Spirit Realm at my age, huh? The mother and daughter pair suddenly became engaged in a word battle. Why don't the two of you calm down? We are still in public. The father finally decided to step in and stop them. If it's not inconvenient, why don't you return to the hotel with us? I'm sure there's a lot to discuss. Liu Lanjai suggested, to which the couple accepted Chapter 402. Sun Jingjing's parents. After returning to the hotel, Sun Jingjing and her parents immediately entered a room to have their conversation. Jingjing, I will get straight to the point. How many men have you slept with up to this point? Her mother suddenly asked her with a serious expression. What do you mean how many? Do you see me as a fool? I understand the practice. There's only one logical explanation to your tremendous growth. You must have slept with a considerable amount of men. Nonsense! Sun Jingjing shouted with a red face. I have only slept with one man in this life, and that is senior brother Su Yang. Her mother looked at her with wide eyes that were filled with surprise. How could a single man assist her cultivation base so much? Really? She asked with a doubtful voice. If you don't believe me, then you can ask grandfather. My chastity has been intact until half a year ago when all of the disciples left the sect, and during this entire time, Su Yang is the only male disciple in the sect besides a few sect elders. What do you think about this? Her mother turned to look at her father and asked. There's only one thing to do, right? Her father said. Her mother nodded and said, Jingjing, bring Su Yang in here. I would like to speak with him. Although she was reluctant, Sun Jingjing called for Su Yang's presence in the room. A few minutes later, Su Yang appeared before them. Allow me to reintroduce myself. I am Sun Ren, and this is my husband, Sun Quan. According to my knowledge, you are the one who took my daughter's chastity, right? That's right. Su Yang nodded without hesitation. Then I will get straight to the point. How are you going to take responsibility? Although the Sun family is not renowned for our military power, nor do our family have any famous cultivators, we are one of the most influential families with business connections in all 4 regions. Furthermore, our daughter is a complete beauty with countless admirers. Do you understand where I am getting at? Sun Ren asked him. Su Yang showed a slight smile on his face. He could pretty much guess what they wanted from him, as this is not his first time dealing with the parents of his partners. Wait a moment, mother. I was the one who approached Su Yang first, and I never once thought that he needed to take responsibility for my actions. Furthermore, he has already done enough for me. Sun Jingjing suddenly stepped in. Shut up, Jingjing. I am speaking with Su Yang right now. Sun Ren snapped back. After a moment of silence, Su Yang said, as Sun Jingjing had said, I bear no responsibility for taking her chastity, as we are both disciples of the Profound Blossom Sect, and things such as responsibility do not apply there. However, I am not someone who will make such pathetic excuses. After all, she is already my woman. With that being said, how do you want me to take responsibility? Su Yang. Sun Jingjing's face was as red as a tomato at this moment. I want you to join the Sun family, Sun Ren immediately said. Sun Jingjing's eyes widened with shock. Her mother wants Su Yang to join their family. This was extremely convenient for her since she wanted to bear Su Yang's child in the future. Su Yang closed his eyes and shook his head. Unfortunately, due to many reasons, I will not be able to do that. Sun Ren frowned upon hearing his refusal, while Sun Jingjing only sighed inwardly as she already predicted this situation, since it was unlikely to bind someone like Su Yang to the Sun family. Explain yourself, Sun Ren said. First and foremost, there are things that I must do which will require me to travel extremely far. Second, I will not join any family, as this is something I have already decided. However, if you were to ask me to accept your daughter into my family, then that would be a different matter. You want my daughter to join your family. Both Sun Ren and Sun Jingjing looked at him with a surprised look, as he basically just proposed to Sun Jingjing before her parents. Besides being the sect master of the Profound Blossom Sect, what exactly do you have? How will you support my daughter? The Sun family has endless resources and wealth from our business. Although I may have nothing in hand right now, what I can do to support your daughter is already evident, and that is only the tip of an entire mountain, said Su Yang, using Sun Jingjing's growth as physical proof. As long as she remains by my side, she will undeniably become someone who will stand at the peak of this world. The room turned silent. Neither of Sun Jingjing's parents were able to deny his words, as he was able to help Sun Jingjing reach the Earth Spirit realm at such a young age. I will do it. Sun Jingjing was the first to break the silence. I will join your family, Su Yang. You don't go deciding something so important by yourself again. This is your future that we are talking about. Letting you join the Profound Blossom Sect was already a mistake, and I will not allow a second one, Sun Ren shouted. No matter what you say, I won't change my mind. Furthermore, I am already addicted to our cultivation. I can't live without his techniques in bed anymore. Sun Jingjing said, how can you say something so shameless? HMPH, but it's the truth. You will understand if you also cultivated with him. Sun Ren's face immediately flushed. Ahem, Sun Quan loudly cleared his throat, pretending that he didn't hear Sun Jingjing's words just now. After a moment of awkward silence, Sun Ren spoke again. Su Yang, what about the other disciples? Are you also cultivating with them? Naturally, Su Yang proudly nodded. While it was not weird for one man to have many wives in this time, Sun Ren felt that her daughter deserved much better. After all, she didn't want her daughter to be a mere mistress. Allow me some time to think about everything we've discussed today. However, there's one more thing I must say today. Sun Ren turned to look at Sun Jingjing with a serious expression and said, the Mu family has sent us a marriage proposal with their eldest son, Mu Shun, asking for your hand. What? That disgusting pig. Why do you even need to tell me that? Just send it back and act as if it never happened. Sun Jingjing frowned. I would like to do that, but the Mu family is serious this time. They even indirectly threatened us with war in the business industry if we refused. Although we have many connections, the Mu family has as much if not slightly more influence than us. I'm afraid it'll turn into an ugly battle that might harm the entire economy. Who is this Mu family? Su Yang suddenly asked. Besides our Sun family, there are other big families within the business circle, and the Mu family is one of them. Their eldest son, Mu Shun, has been chasing me even before I became a disciple of the Profound Blossom Sect. Sun Jingjing sighed. Is that so? By the way, if I may ask, what kind of business does the Sun family specialize in? Su Yang then asked. We have a market for pretty much everything cultivation related, but medicine and pills are our staple as well as the Mu family, said Sun Quan. Pills and medicines, huh? Su Yang mumbled. Anyway, I have managed to delay our response until after the tournament. Sun Ren said and turned to look at Su Yang and continued. Before then, I want to see for myself if I can leave my daughter in your hands. If I find you unworthy for our daughter, I will accept the Mu family's proposal. Su Yang remained silent, but what surprised Sun Ren the most was that Sun Jingjing also remained nonchalant to her words. What? You think I won't do it? She asked Sun Jingjing. Sun Jingjing showed a confident smile and said, No, I am just confident that you'll accept Su Yang. Sun Ren was speechless. This is the first time that she's ever seen Sun Jingjing appear so confident. Maybe there really is something special about this Su Yang beside his techniques in bed. She thought to herself, Chapter 403, Su Yang's family seal. Why did you tell them that you would accept the Mu family's proposal when you clearly won't do so? Sun Quan asked his wife after they left the hotel. Besides feeling like teasing our daughter for ignoring me and joining the Profound Blossom Sect, nothing else really, I guess. Sun Ren said with a smile on her face. Of course, Sun Ren never intended to accept the Mu family's proposal, but she wanted to get revenge for Sun Jingjing's disobedient behavior, hence why she lied about her proposal. However, she did not expect Sun Jingjing to not react to it, much less get angry. It was truly unexpected of her to act so mature and calm in such a moment. Maybe that young man also had something to do with that, Sun Ren mumbled to herself. You are really unbelievable, Sun Quan shook his head. Meanwhile, back at the hotel, Liu Lanjai asked them, Is everything okay? Did you manage to sort things out with your parents? Yes, Sect Master. Sun Jingjing nodded with a smile. That's good to hear. Then I'll leave the two of you alone for today. Liu Lanjai said before leaving them alone in the room. Silence filled the room after Liu Lanjai left, but Sun Jingjing broke the silence a few moments later. Su Yang, I apologize for today. You don't need to mind my parents, especially my mother, who always speaks whatever is on her mind. Just ignore what they said today. After another moment of silence, Su Yang stared at her in the eyes and said in a clear voice, But I meant every word I said. If you truly want to become a part of my family, I won't say no. Really? Sun Jingjing emotionally covered her mouth. However, it won't be a small family. In fact, there will be many others. Although you have not met them yet, they exist somewhere far away. I don't care, Sun Jingjing immediately answered without hesitation. Even if there are hundreds of others, I would still be willing to join. While a single man having many wives is not very common in this world, it's not exactly uncommon either, especially for the wealthy and the strong in the cultivation world. In fact, the stronger one is, the more likely they would have a harem, as that will allow them to give birth to more geniuses in their family. As long as I am still a part of his life, as long as he doesn't abandon me, I won't mind even if I am only one of his many partners. Sun Jingjing thought to herself as she stared at Su Yang intensively. After a few minutes of silence, Su Yang suddenly stood up and loosened his robes, revealing to her his stiff little brother. Sun Jingjing looked at him with raised eyebrows. If you truly want to become a part of my family, then accept my family seal. Family seal? What's that? Sun Jingjing tilted her head with a puzzled expression, as she has never heard of this term before. It's a common tradition in my hometown, mostly for families with only one man in the household, with the rest being his wives and mistresses, said Su Yang, his hometown being the divine heavens. Before one can be recognized as a member of the family, they must accept the family seal, which will be created through dual cultivation with the man's yang qi. Once the family seal is imprinted onto your body, you will have to follow the family's rule. If you decide to break the rules or betray me, the family seal will completely cripple your cultivation base, if not outright kill you. Of course, if you ever feel that you no longer want to be a part of the family, I can assist you with removing the family seal, which will not affect you in any way. Do you wish to hear the rules? Su Yang then asked. Sun Jingjing quickly nodded. 1. You will not cultivate with another man beside myself for as long as you are a member of my family. This should be self-explanatory, but if you betray me, the family seal will immediately kill you. 2. You will not purposefully plot against, harm, or kill anyone within the family. If you have any grievances with another within the family that cannot be solved personally, you will come to me, and I will promise to sort it out. Depending on the severity, the punishment will vary. In most cases, if you don't kill anyone, you will only have your cultivation crippled. 3. You will not do anything that may tarnish our family's reputation or another family member's for that matter. Again, depending on the severity, you may be crippled or killed. 4th, once you accept the family seal, only I will be able to remove it for you. If you forcibly try to remove it, let's just say you don't want to find out. And lastly, you are obligated to cultivate with me at least once every 2,500 years in order to renew the family seal. Do you have any questions regarding the rules? Su Yang then asked her. Sun Jingjing shook her head. Besides the 2,500 years rule, she found everything else logical and normal. 2,500 years. Can one even live that long? She wondered. Seeing her answer, Su Yang nodded before continuing to speak. Now that you have heard all of the rules, are you still willing to join my family? I am willing, Sun Jingjing answered without hesitation as she loosened her robes. Good. Then come here. Sun Jingjing immediately jumped into Su Yang's embrace, and after a few minutes of foreplay, Su Yang pushed his divine rod into Sun Jingjing's charming body. Tilda, Sun Jingjing moaned loudly as Su Yang drilled her cave, slowly releasing his yang qi into her body. After a few minutes into their cultivation, the word Su, colored in black, began forming on Sun Jingjing's body at the area slightly below her belly button. The word was no larger than 3 inches in length and width, and it was emitting an unfathomable aura. Once the word was fully formed, Su Yang bit a hole in his finger and wiped his blood on the spot the word was imprinted, coloring the word bright red. A few seconds later, almost as though it was alive, the word imprinted on Sun Jingjing's body quickly absorbed Su Yang's blood before turning into a golden color. It's done, Su Yang said to her with a smile she'd never seen before. You are now a member of my family. Chapter 404. Do you believe in reincarnation? So this is a family seal. There's something mesmerizing about it. Sun Jingjing gently rubbed the word Su on her belly, feeling an indescribable emotion at this moment. What should I do now, Su Yang? Sun Jingjing turned to ask him. Just continue doing whatever you have been doing. Having a family seal doesn't necessarily mean you must live differently, he said. Is that so? By the way, would you be willing to accept the other disciples into the family as well if they asked? She suddenly asked him. Su Yang smiled and said, In my entire life, I have cultivated with hundreds of thousands of beauties. However, less than 100 of them are actually a part of my family. Wait, what? Hundreds of thousands? Sun Jingjing looked at him with wide eyes, seemingly confused about his exaggerated number. Su Yang nodded and continued, Since you are now a part of my family, there's no reason to not tell you the truth, as you'll learn about it sooner or later anyway. Sun Jingjing made a swallowing motion and nervously waited for him to continue. Before I start, I have to ask you this question: do you believe in reincarnation? Sun Jingjing pondered for a moment and said, While many people believe in the existence of reincarnation, nobody has really been able to prove that it truly exists, so not really. Sun Jingjing suddenly came to a realization and looked at Su Yang with wide eyes. Don't tell me that you, Su Yang nodded and said, This is not my first life, as I have memories of my previous life. No way, Sun Jingjing turned dazed from disbelief. Before existing in this world, I was born in a place called Celestial Heaven, one of the four divine heavens. However, after an event that even I cannot explain had occurred, I awoke in this world in my current body. Then you are not Su Yang, she asked him, her face clearly still trying to comprehend the situation. No, I am indeed Su Yang. Coincidentally, I was born in this world with the same name and also appearance. It's not an exaggeration to say that I am currently a younger version of my previous life. After a moment of silence, Su Yang asked her, "Are you feeling regret to have joined my family now?" Hearing his question, Sun Jingjing quickly shook her head. "Of course not. In fact, I am even more excited than before to know that I belong to someone with such an extraordinary background. This also explains why you are so experienced with dual cultivation and all the other things." Sun Jingjing nodded as if she finally found the missing piece of the puzzle. Sometime later, Sun Jingjing said to him, "Su Yang, can you tell me some stories from your previous life? I would also like to know more about that world called Celestial Heaven." Su Yang nodded and said, "The Celestial Heaven is one of four major heavens called the four divine heavens that exist somewhere in this universe, and it's a place where cultivators with cultivation bases that you cannot comprehend roam. Earth Spirit Realm, Heavenly Spirit Realm. That is no different than trash in the four divine heavens where undying immortals fill the streets and powerful gods wander the starry sky." Sun Jingjing's eyes shone with excitement, and she asked, "Then what about you? Were you an immortal in your previous life too?" Su Yang nodded with a smile. "I was an ancient immortal in my past life, only one step before ascending godhood, but alas, ancient immortal. How powerful is that compared to the heavenly spirit realm? Let's just say I could crush 1,000,000 cultivators at the heavenly spirit realm without even lifting my fingers. That powerful." Sun Jingjing couldn't tell if he was exaggerating or if he was actually telling the truth, as she lacked the knowledge and comprehension to do so. In her mind, the heavenly spirit realm is already the peak of the cultivation path, and anything beyond that is unknown to her. "Su Yang, have you ever thought of going back to that world?" Sun Jingjing suddenly asked him. A solemn expression appeared on Su Yang's face and he slowly nodded. "Every day I think about returning, but alas, I have yet to find a way to return. But don't worry, I will definitely find a way to return to my world, and when I do." When you do find a way to go there, would you be willing to take me with you?" Sun Jingjing asked him with a worried face. Su Yang looked at her and chuckled. "Why are you asking me that now? Even if you hadn't asked, I would have asked you to come with me. But are you sure? What about your family in this world? I am no longer a little girl that they have to constantly look after. They will do fine even without me. However, I'd like to ensure that my family will be living a great life even after I am gone." Su Yang then said, "Don't worry, I will guarantee you that they will live a carefree life in the near future." "Really?" He nodded and continued, "I will help them first by dealing with this Mu family that's been a needle in your family's skin. What do you intend on doing to them?" Sun Jingjing looked at him with wide eyes. "I won't do anything to them personally if they don't do anything too arrogant. However, I can take away their influence in the business industry simply by making your Sun family much more influential than them. Taking away their influence by making my family more influential. How do you plan on doing that?" "It's simple, really. The Sun family and the Mu family mostly deal with medicine, right? I have plenty of pill recipes that will shake the foundation of alchemy in this world if revealed, and if I give a few of them to the Sun family, they will definitely monopolize the entire market without any competitors." Hearing this, Sun Jingjing looked at him weirdly and asked, "Su Yang, don't tell me you had something to do with the Earth Advancement pills." Su Yang smiled and said, "Well, I was the one who introduced them to Wang Xuren. You were the mysterious alchemy master all along. Did you think that I would only know how to pleasure ladies? There are many things that I know that you are yet aware of, But don't worry, you'll learn most about me sooner or later. Sun Jingjing showed a warm smile after hearing his words. This is the first time that Su Yang has ever appeared to be truly open to her, and she could feel his trust for her. In the past, Su Yang in her eyes was always shrouded in this mysterious aura, almost like he refuses to open his heart to others. Su Yang, can you embrace me? She suddenly asked him with a slightly flushed face. Su Yang smiled and said, do you want the current Su Yang to embrace you, or would you like to experience the other Su Yang? A moment of silence later, Sun Jingjing said, if it's possible, I would like to see what you were like before. Say no more. Su Yang then retrieved an appearance-reforming pill and swallowed it. A moment later, Su Yang's face became much more mature, his facial features much more refined, and his overall appearance grew taller and larger, just like an adult. When Sun Jingjing saw Su Yang's new appearance, her jaw dropped from shock. She didn't think that he could possibly become even more handsome than he already is, but after seeing this Su Yang, her entire body reacted with intense excitement and desire. Just a glance of Su Yang made her little sister drooling wet from lust. Don't pass out just yet. There's still more to come, Su Yang said as he slowly removed his robes again, showing Sun Jingjing the enormous rod between his legs. Oh heavens! Sun Jingjing nearly ejaculated yin qi just from seeing his divine rod. She simply could not wait to experience what it would feel like to have that kind of monster inside her body and said, please, just stick it inside me. I want it now. Su Yang nodded and slowly approached her chapter 405, entering the semi-finals after many hours of dual cultivation. Sun Jingjing fell asleep on the bed, while Su Yang cultivated the yin qi he'd gathered. Sometime later, Liu Lanjai knocked on their door and said, Su Yang, our next match has been announced. Su Yang stopped cultivating and opened the door. Who are we fighting tomorrow? He asked. Overseeing Guardian Hall. Never heard of them. Su Yang casually shrugged. They are another elite sect, but with Sun Jingjing and Fang Zhelin on our side, we won't need to worry about them, as they only have a single disciple at the Earth Spirit realm. However, what comes after defeating the Overseeing Guardian Hall is going to be problematic, because we will have a high chance of fighting either the Divine Sword Sect or the Azure Cloud Sect. While Fang Zhelin may have an advantage in cultivation bases, the disciples of the Divine Sword Sect are all veteran fighters with countless more experiences than our own disciples in terms of combat, and that experience might be able to take away our only advantage in this tournament, our superior cultivation bases. As for the Azure Cloud Sect, I don't even want to mention it, Su Yang nodded. Indeed. Although we may have an advantage in terms of cultivation bases, our disciples truly don't have much experience in combat. However, while that difference may make things slightly more difficult for us, I am pretty confident in our own disciples. While he did not mention it to Liu Lanjai, besides dual cultivation, Su Yang had also trained the other disciples with their sword techniques, even sparring with them at times. And although that might not be enough to make them seasoned swordmasters, they were definitely on par with the Divine Sword Sect's disciples in terms of their insight with the sword, perhaps even superior. After all, Su Yang used to be a renowned swordmaster before he became a renowned playboy, where he would train with a sword for hundreds of hours at a time. His experience with the sword is not something any expert or swordmaster within the Divine Sword Sect can comprehend, much less compare to. By the way, is Sun Jingjing okay? She seemed a bit weird after her conversation with her parents. Liu Lanjai suddenly asked. Su Yang pointed at Sun Jingjing, who was sleeping peacefully with his eyes, and said, as you can see, she's doing fine. Seeing Sun Jingjing's peaceful sleeping face, Liu Lanjai nodded with a relieved expression. One more thing, don't think I have forgotten about your promise to teach me this technique. Liu Lanjai said, referring to the technique he taught the disciples prior to fighting the Burning Lotus sect. I happen to have some free time right now, he said with a smile. Then what are you waiting for? Let's go cultivate, Liu Lanjai said, before dragging Su Yang away into another room where they'll cultivate until the next day. The following morning, the Profound Blossom Sect headed to the Colosseum as usual, before waiting for their turn to enter the stage. The Azure Cloud Sect were the first ones to fight on the stage on that day, and as everyone had expected, Hong Yuer defeated most of their opponents without breaking a single sweat on her body. After the Azure Cloud Sect's match, it was the Great Sea Cliff versus the Binding Light Hall, with the Binding Light Hall being victorious. The Profound Blossom Sect was the next and last match for the day. Disciple Lin Na went first, defeating 2 opponents before leaving the stage. The next Profound Blossom Sect disciple to fight was a young lady named Lei Tinge, who managed to defeat 1 opponent before leaving the stage. Half an hour later, the Profound Blossom Sect defeated the Overseeing Guardian Hall, entering the semi-finals for the regional tournament. This concludes the matches for today. However, before we all leave this place, allow me to say a few words, Zai Dong said to everybody. First and foremost, congratulations to everyone who has managed to enter the semi-finals. Your achievements are the results of your sect elders' teachings and the sect's and its disciples' efforts combined. Now, as we enter the semi-finals tomorrow, the Divine Sword Sect, champion of the previous regional tournament, will finally be joining us. Ooh. The crowd exploded with cheering and sheer excitement when the Divine Sword Sect's name was mentioned, since their status is almost unparalleled within the Eastern continent. The Divine Sword Sect has existed for as long as the people could remember, and they have always dominated the regional tournaments by remaining in first place ever since the very first tournament. Furthermore, the Divine Sword Sect is also a part of the Zai family's military power, so they have the backing from the strongest family on this continent. It would not be an exaggeration to say that the Divine Sword Sect is only second to the Zai family. His Majesty, Lord Zai, will now announce the matches for tomorrow, Zai Dong said a moment later. After a moment of silence, Lord Zai spoke. The Azure Cloud Sect and the Binding Light Hall will be fighting the first match. The Profound Blossom Sect and the Divine Sword Sect will follow afterward. When the audience heard the matchups, they began speculating whether the Profound Blossom Sect would be able to defeat the Divine Sword Sect or not, as the Azure Cloud Sect was sure to win against their match. If not for Sun Jingjing and Fang Zhelan, the Profound Blossom Sect would not stand a chance against the Divine Sword Sect. However, since they have these 2 geniuses, they might actually have a chance to win. I'm willing to bet that the Profound Blossom Sect will win tomorrow's match. Impossible. Although they may have impressive cultivation bases, one can tell from their previous matches that they lack the experience. The Divine Sword Sect, on the other hand, are all trained to the extreme by the most qualified swordmasters in this world. The difference is clear, and the Divine Sword Sect will dominate them. Unlike before, people no longer underestimated the Profound Blossom Sect. With that being said, most of them still would not believe that they could defeat the Divine Sword Sect, the number 1 sect in this world in many people's eyes. Chapter 406, A Bunch of Nonsense. Welcome back, Sect Master Zhang. Somewhere in Snowfall City, the Divine Sword Sect's disciples and sect elder greeted Zhang Kao Huang, who just returned from a few missions that had been given to him by Lord Zai. I apologize for returning so much later than I said, as I had run into a few unexpected situations, Elder Zhang said to them. There's no need to apologize to us, Sect Master. You were busy under His Majesty's commands after all. One of the sect elders poured tea for him as he sat down. Elder Zhang nodded after tasting the flavorful tea. By the way, our first match for the regional tournament should be coming up tomorrow. Who's our opponent? It should already have been announced by now. Ooh, The sect elders and disciples exchanged worried looks with each other. "What's the matter?" Elder Zhang raised an eyebrow in puzzlement. Because Elder Zhang had been away this entire time, he was unaware of the situation with Hong Yuer and the Fang Zhelan. "Our match tomorrow is the Profound Blossom Sect," said one of the sect elders. The Profound Blossom Sect. Elder Zhang nearly spat the tea in his mouth after hearing their name. They actually managed to last this long. Unbelievable, Elder Zhang said with a surprised expression. "Sect Master, you may not know this since you have been away this entire time, but the Profound Blossom Sect has two monsters at the Earth Spirit Realm, and one of them is even in the 7th level, whilst we only have 3 and the highest one is at the 3rd level." "What? 7th level Earth Spirit Realm?" Elder Zhang's eyes widened with shock. "It's some young lady named Fang Zhelan." However, that's not even the worst part. Even if we somehow manage to defeat her and the Profound Blossom Sect, we will have to deal with the Azure Cloud Sect. The Azure Cloud Sect also managed to last this long. Although they are definitely better than the Profound Blossom Sect in terms of position, they shouldn't have the capabilities to enter the semi-finals. What happened to the other elite sects? Did they all decide to not participate in this year's regional tournament? Elder Zhang was gobsmacked by the current situation of the regional tournament, as he truly did not expect all of the elite sects to lose to these low-ranking sects. No, they were beaten fair and square by them. In fact, one of them even had their status revoked. The Azure Cloud Sect has been bestowed the elite status by His Majesty not long ago. After a moment of silence, Elder Zhang spoke. "Who is it? Who's this genius from the Azure Cloud Sect?" "Her name is Hong Yuer, and she's at the Heavenly Spirit Realm." "Heavenly Spirit Realm." Elder Zhang coughed out the tea in his mouth and stood up from the shock. "You must think that I am easily fooled now because I am getting old, huh? If there's really someone at the Heavenly Spirit Realm in the tournament, there would be no point to even host one." Elder Zhang shouted angrily, thinking that they were playing jokes on him. If the Heavenly Spirit Realm is so easily achieved by some junior, his entire life would lose its meaning. The sect elders exchanged glances once again. "But Sect Master, we're not joking," they said to him with serious expressions. "That Hong Yuer is truly at the Heavenly Spirit Realm, and she's not even 20 years old. We witnessed it with our own eyes." "Enough," Elder Zhang quickly interrupted. "I will witness for myself whether she's really at that level tomorrow. Tell me about the Profound Blossom Sect for now. Who are their fighters, and what about that Fang Zhelan?" Although it was almost unbelievable that the Profound Blossom Sect would have someone at the 7th level Earth Spirit Realm, it was much more believable than a junior reaching the Heavenly Spirit Realm before the age of 20. Not to mention they also have Su Yang, who is an unfathomable swordmaster even in his eyes. Besides 2 of their fighters, the rest are within the true spirit realm with the exception of one, who is only at the Profound Spirit Realm. The first individual at the Earth Spirit Realm is named Sun Jingjing, and she is at the 2nd level. As for Fang Zhelan, she was revealed to be at the 7th level just 2 days ago. The sect elders began explaining. "That being said, I have watched their abilities for the past few days and realized that besides their impressive cultivation base, their techniques and overall combat experiences are lacking. Thus, we don't have to worry about their disciples at the true spirit realm. As for those 2 at the Earth Spirit Realm, we can only drag out the fight and exhaust their spiritual energy as much as possible before sending out our own disciples at the Earth Spirit Realm. However, Elder Zhang raised an eyebrow. "That disciple with the Profound Spirit Realm cultivation base, he's an odd one." "Odd, how?" he asked. "Even though he's only at the Profound Spirit Realm, he was able to beat a genius at the Earth Spirit Realm from the Burning Lotus Sect, and none of us were able to see the full extent of his powers. He's basically unfathomable." "What? Someone at the Profound Spirit Realm defeated someone at the Earth Spirit Realm? What kind of nonsense are you spouting again? That's even more unbelievable than some junior reaching the heavenly spirit realm. Elder Zhang scoffed at them. It's true, sect master. All of us were there to witness it. Perhaps he's cultivating some kind of devilish technique, but his powers were simply too profound and mysterious. The sect elders showed bitter expressions on their faces, as they were well aware of just how ridiculous they sound right now. If I recall correctly, that young man was named Su Yang. What? Elder Zhang shouted so loud that everybody there could feel their eardrums trembling. Impossible. There's no way that he could enter the tournament, he continued shouting. After all, he wouldn't be surprised even if Su Yang was older than him. That's it, I will be right back, Elder Zhang said before rushing for the exit. Where are you going, sect master? To speak with Lord Zai. Why? The sect elders mumbled in a bewildered voice as Elder Zhang's figure disappeared from the place. Chapter 407. Regardless of what happens tomorrow, Your Majesty, Divine Sword Master Zhang Kao Huang is waiting in the lobby. He also seemed a bit anxious. A servant notified Lord Zai of Elder Zhang's arrival. Senior Zhang, did he leave something behind? He was here just some time ago. Lord Zai raised an eyebrow. Allow him to see me, he said to the guard. Yes, Your Majesty. A few minutes later, Elder Zhang entered the room with a look of desperation and bewilderment. Why, Your Majesty, there has to be some kind of mistake. Why is he one of the participants? Elder Zhang asked him. Slow down. Lord Zai was slightly overwhelmed by Elder Zhang's behavior and said, What are you talking about? That man, Su Yang. Why is he one of the participants? Elder Zhang asked again, clearly this time. There's no way that someone at the heavenly spirit realm could possibly qualify to be a participant. So you have heard of the news. Lord Zai finally understood why he was acting so strangely. I know this might be a pill that's nearly impossible to swallow, but Su Yang, he's actually only 17 years old as of this moment. Lord Zai revealed the truth to him, whose eyes and mouth widened with shock. SSS 17. Elder Zhang stuttered non-stop. That's impossible. What kind of talent must one have in order to reach the heavenly spirit realm at that age when the rest of us are all over 100 years old? Lord Zai shook his head and said, Although he denies it, I believe that he has a master from the mythical holy central continent. Otherwise, I cannot even imagine how he would have achieved such a feat. A master from the holy central continent. Perhaps the reason why they can't comprehend Su Yang's talent is because he has someone from a place they also cannot comprehend supporting him. If you are still feeling doubtful, go look into the Su family's second son. Wait, that Su family? Elder Zhang looked at him with disbelief. Lord Zai nodded and said, Due to unknown circumstances, Su Yang had been missing for about a year. However, after some deeper investigations, it appears that he'd actually been kicked out of the house and sent to the Profound Blossom Sect as a disciple. Elder Zhang was speechless. He didn't expect Su Yang would have such a complicated background. Although it does not explain how he achieved the heavenly spirit realm, it will remove most of your doubts regarding his identity. Elder Zhang chuckled in a defeated manner a moment later and said, First the Earth advancement pills. Now there are juniors reaching the heavenly spirit realm. It appears that a new cultivation era is approaching, and my cultivation was for naught. If only I was born a little bit later. If Su Yang is truly only 17 years old, then it's safe to believe that this Hong Yuer from the Azure Cloud sect is also at the heavenly spirit realm, right? Hong Yuer. Lord Zai sighed after hearing her name and said, Perhaps she also has an expert from the holy central continent supporting her. It's too much of a coincidence that she's also Su Yang's fiancé. Wait a moment. Elder Zhang rubbed his temples with pressure and continued, This Hong Yuer is Su Yang's fiancé. According to the investigation, yes. I had even sent a few irresistible young men with powerful backgrounds to approach her, but they were all instantly shot down by her, who insisted that she already has a fiancé. I even investigated the Hong family, and while they tried to hide the fact, Hong Yuer was indeed engaged to Su Yang from a young age. Well, no matter their relationship, it'll be fun to see what they'll do once they are on the same stage. Lord Zai smiled. Elder Zhang looked at him with a dissatisfied face. When Lord Zai noticed it, he said, "I know what you're thinking, but regardless of who I paired your sect against, the results will be the same, unless you also have a heavenly spirit realm expert amongst the junior ranks. If I had someone like that, the entire world would have known by now." Elder Zhang shook his head. "It's unfortunate, but I'll have my disciples fight a battle that has already been decided before it even started. Do you not intend on telling them about Su Yang?" Lord Zai asked him, "What's the point? Knowing about his strength won't change anything. In fact, it'll only make them even more depressed than they already are with Fang Zhelan. Ha, to think the Divine Sword Sect's unshakable reign would finally come to an end, and in such a sudden fashion. Did I offend a god in my previous life to deserve this?" Elder Zhang sighed deeply. "Nothing will last forever. In fact, in a few dozen years, I'm sure that Su Yang will eventually surpass my father, who has reached the legendary sovereign spirit realm. Once that happens, he might even become the next emperor of the Eastern continent," said Lord Zai. "However, a cultivator with a limitless future is always unpredictable. Who knows what he'll do in the future when he's all grown? He could remain in the Eastern continent as a ruler, or he could travel to the other continents. Seeing how his master is from the holy central continent, he might even go over there. Whatever it is that he might do, I'm sure that it'll shake the entire world." Sometime later, Elder Zhang returned to his disciples. "Is everything fine, sect master?" they asked him with a worried face. "Don't worry, it's nothing serious. By the way, regardless of what happens tomorrow, just focus on doing your best and try not to make a fool out of yourselves." Elder Zhang said to them. "Anyways, I have a huge headache right now, so I will be retiring for the day." After he disappeared into his room, the sect elders looked at each other with dumbfounded looks. To make a heavenly spirit realm master experience headaches, it must have been fairly serious. But alas, there's nothing we can do. Let's just hope that it's nothing too bad and focus on getting through tomorrow without losing too much face. Chapter 408. The Divine Sword Sect makes their appearance on the following day. Everyone in the Profound Blossom Sect gathered at the front of the hotel, including the elders that had been in closed cultivation. Ha. I didn't think that I would be able to reach the Earth Spirit realm without another 50 years. Elder Sun laughed loudly after leaving his seclusion. "You're embarrassing yourself, grandfather." Sun Jingjing looked at him weirdly. "Of course, I cannot compare you to who has reached the Earth Spirit realm at such a young age. However, this is still a huge achievement for me," he said. "By the way, I heard from the sect master that your parents had visited us while I was in seclusion. What did they say to you?" "Don't worry, grandfather. It's not something that you need to know about. But if you really want to know, you should ask them yourself." "Ho, since when did you become so independent?" Elder Sun raised an eyebrow as he noticed something different about his granddaughter, who had a more mature aura than before. "A lot has happened since you entered seclusion, but you'll learn about it sooner or later," Sun Jingjing said, but she was not willing to reveal anything to him just yet. "HMPH, you can keep your secrets, but don't come crying to me when your parents make things difficult for you in the future," Elder Sun said before ignoring her. A few moments later, Liu Lanjai appeared before them and spoke. "Are we all here?" "Yes, sect master," everybody shouted with excitement, especially the junior disciples. "Good," Liu Lanjai nodded. Sometime later, the Profound Blossom Sect reached the Colosseum. As they reached the gates, the people there would turn to stare at them with gazes filled with admiration. There were even a few young men and women who approached them with the intent of joining them. "Excuse me, sect master and seniors, when will the Profound Blossom Sect start recruiting disciples again? Ever since I saw the Profound Blossom Sect's disciple defeat the Burning Lotus Sect, I have been wanting to be a part of it." "Me too. I also want to become a disciple at the Profound Blossom Sect." Although she was taken aback by their enthusiasm, Xianxia spoke with a professional expression. "The next recruitment for the Profound Blossom Sect is planned to be 1 month after the regional tournament. However, due to some changes to the Profound Blossom Sect, it may be delayed, so wait until after the regional tournament for an official statement." Although only a few people approached them, there were many there who were interested in the Profound Blossom Sect but were too shy to approach them, and were silently noting Xianxia's words in the background. Almost 2 hours later, the regional tournament finally began. Welcome to the semifinals for the regional tournament. Although it's only been a few years since the last tournament, it's obvious that there were many changes in the cultivation world throughout these short years. After spending a few minutes to recall the rules, Zai Dong called out the participants for the first match. "Without further ado, allow me to introduce our contestants for the first match, the Profound Blossom Sect, one of the few dark horses of this generation, and their opponents, the regional tournament's indomitable champion for many years, Divine Sword Sect." The crowd roared with intense excitement as the Divine Sword Sect finally appeared on the stage, as they have been waiting for their return since the tournament began. However, not even a minute had passed since the Divine Sword Sect stood on the stage, and the audience already noticed something different about them. "What's this? There's something different about the Divine Sword Sect this year, but I cannot pinpoint the difference." "You're right. Although I might be wrong, they seem less radiant compared to their previous appearances, almost like they are not as domineering." "Now that you mention it, that might be the reason. After all, there's the Profound Blossom Sect and the Azure Cloud Sect this year. Compared to their geniuses that defy logic, the Divine Sword Sect doesn't appear as powerful anymore. Look at them. Their strongest cultivator is only at the 3rd level Earth Spirit realm, which is nothing when compared to Fang Zhelan, much less Hong Yuer." While there were some people that looked down on the Divine Sword Sect, there were more that defended them. Although they cannot compare to Fang Zhelan or Hong Yuer in terms of cultivation base, the Divine Sword Sect has many renowned sword masters and hundreds of years of experience in combat. Indeed, and they have many geniuses that can fight those above their own realm, so you cannot underestimate them. Speaking of fighting against those above their own realm, what about that young man from the Profound Blossom Sect? He defeated somebody at the Earth Spirit realm whilst being only at the Profound Spirit realm. If you ask me, that's even more shocking than Hong Yuer's Heavenly Spirit realm cultivation base. His name was Su Yang, right? It's hard to judge his prowess from what we've seen so far, since he hasn't really displayed anything too shocking, and he's barely made any appearances on the stage. In fact, I still don't understand how he managed to beat Fairy Lin Xiaoshang. Well, let's hope he fights the Divine Sword Sect, so we can get a better understanding of his power. Meanwhile, on the stage, Elder Zhang stared at Su Yang, who was standing a few meters away from him with a nonchalant expression on his face. "You little brat, I didn't think you were actually my junior due to the way you speak. Were you making fun of me this entire time?" Elder Zhang said to him with narrowed eyes. "I don't know what you're talking about." Su Yang casually shrugged his shoulders. "Oh, you don't know what I am talking about. Good. Then let's see if you'll remember after W Fine defeat you." A smile appeared on Su Yang's face as he spoke. "You can go ahead and try." Chapter 409, Their True Potential. After giving their greetings, Each sect returned to the edge of the stage before they sent out their first fighter. A few moments later, the Divine Sword Sect sends out a disciple at the peak of the true spirit realm. "Who wants to fight first?" Liu Lanjai asked them. "Oh, me. Allow me to experience their swords first, sect master." Disciple Jinzai immediately raised her hand. Liu Lanjai looked at her and nodded. "Be careful. Your opponent is not only 3 stages above you, but his profound qi is incredibly thick for someone at his level. He most likely has strength equal to someone who just entered the earth spirit realm." Jinzai nodded with a serious expression. However, just as Jinzai prepared to enter the stage, Su Yang spoke, "Wait a second." He then approached her and gave her a gentle tap on her forehead. Jinzai suddenly felt as though something had been unleashed within her body and a profound energy sprouted within her aura. "I have removed your limiter. Go wild," Su Yang said to her with a smile. Jinzai showed a wide smile and nodded excitement. "I will not disappoint you." Once Jinzai stepped onto the stage, Liu Lanjai asked Su Yang with, "What on earth did you just do to her? How did her profound qi suddenly grow stronger?" "I didn't mention this, but the disciples have not been using their full abilities before, as I have placed a limit on their danshan," said Su Yang, revealing this shocking information to her. "What? You mean to tell me that they have been fighting with only some of their potential this entire time? Why would you limit their strength?" Being dumbfounded can't even describe what Liu Lanjai was feeling right now. "You'll understand in just a moment. It won't be fun if they dominate all of the matches with ease, right?" Liu Lanjai did not immediately respond and turned to look at Jinzai instead. "Are the 2 of you ready?" Zai Dong asked them after both sides had a fighter on the stage. Jin Zai and the young man in front of her nodded. "Then let the first match for the semifinals begin." Zai Dong waved his hand before retreating to the edge of the stage. The moment the match began, the young man from the Divine Sword Sect roared, causing his aura to sharpen like the blade of a sword. "Is that sword intent?" The audience was shocked upon feeling the sharp aura from the young man, almost like they were looking at a swordmaster. "No, that's not real sword intent. It's only an imitation of the real thing. There's no way any of them would be able to emit real sword intent, as that would require decades of training to even understand sword intent, much less create it. However, even if it's fake, it's quite impressive, as not just anybody can imitate sword intent, and you can tell that he has a profound understanding of the sword." The real experts there gave their insights. "While I have to give you guys credits for reaching this far, this is as far as you'll go." The Divine Sword Sect's disciple pointed his sword at Jinzai, who stood there calmly. "Indeed, even I could have never expected that I would come this far before." Jinzai spoke with a smile on her face. "However, I will have to disagree with you on one thing, that this is our end. We will not only defeat you, but we all also defeat the Azure Cloud Sect and become the champions." The young man burst out laughing after hearing her words and said, "You wish to defeat us? Although you may have an impressive cultivation base, that's all you guys have, and that won't be enough to defeat us." Jinzai suddenly grasped the sword by her side and said, "While we do not have much experience in real combat, we have sparred with a swordmaster plenty of times, enough to deal with people like you." "Ha ha ha ha, a swordmaster. Just because someone can hold a sword, it does not make them a swordmaster." The young man snorted in disdain. "Speak for yourself. Just because they are called swordmaster does not really make them one." Jinzai unsheathed her sword. The second she drew her sword, Jinzai's aura shot into the sky and sharpened like a blade, making it seem as though her entire body had turned into a sword. This is impossible." When the Divine Sword Sect disciple realized that it was sword intent coming from Jinzai's body, his legs gave up and he fell to the floor. That's real sword intent. How is that possible?" It was not just the Divine Sword Sect's disciples, even the others were baffled by this situation. "What is going on? How could she have sword intent?" Elder Zhang's entire body was trembling from shock and disbelief at this moment. This is truly unexpected. Even Lord Zai couldn't comprehend the situation. I wasn't able to sense any sword intent from her before this, yet she can suddenly emit sword intent. What the hell is going on? SSS Su Yang, what is going on? How come she can suddenly use sword intent? I don't remember the Profound Blossom Sect having any sword techniques besides the Profound Blossom art, and understanding the sword arts enough to create sword intent with that mortal-grade technique is simply impossible, Liu Lanjai said to him. Oh, I taught them a thing or two about swords whenever we are not cultivating. Su Yang casually responded. A.D. Does this mean they can all emit sword intent? Liu Lanjai looked at the other disciples with wide eyes. Of course, Su Yang nodded. It's just that I have sealed their sword intent inside their dantian at the moment, so you won't be able to tell. You unbelievable. Liu Lanjai didn't know what to think of this and could only accept reality as it is chapter 410 fighting the divine sword sect T. There has to be some kind of mistake. I must be dreaming or something. There's simply no way that anyone in the true spirit realm could emit sword intent. Elder Zhang felt as though the world was spinning much faster than before, causing him to have headaches. After all, as a swordmaster himself, Elder Zhang knew very well how hard it was to comprehend sword intent, much less create it. The requirements were simply too profound for someone at the true spirit realm. Although Su Yang could also create sword intent, he was in the heavenly spirit realm, so Elder Zhang did not find it too weird despite his young age. Furthermore, it was not as though these disciples could have a master from the holy central continent lecture them. I give up. Despite having a huge advantage over Jinzai with his superior cultivation, the divine sword sect disciple surrendered without even lifting his sword, as he had no intent fighting someone who has already mastered sword intent, something even most of their sect elders cannot achieve. What? Elder Zhang looked at his disciple with wide eyes. Why did you surrender without fighting her? He immediately lectured the disciple after he returned. B. Because she has sword intent. Anyone that can create sword intent is a formidable expert regardless of their cultivation base. Just looking at her sword intent, I can tell that her understanding with the sword is much higher than mine. I am no match for her. The disciple shook his head and explained the reason behind his actions. In other words, you were scared of her, huh? Elder Zhang shook his head and sighed. To think my sect would raise such cowards. It appears that we all have gotten complacent over these years. He then turned to look at the other disciples with narrowed eyes and spoke in a grim tone. I don't care if you have no chance of winning. You will not surrender without putting up a fight and bring shame to the entire divine sword sect. As for those of you who surrender, you can consider today your last day as a disciple of the sect. Sect master. I was wrong. The disciple who surrendered immediately kowtowed with despair in his expression. However, Elder Zhang merely snorted with a cold expression and said, no matter how talented you are, if you cannot act with at least some dignity, I do not want you in my sect. Now scram. The other disciples remained silent, as they did not want to anger Elder Zhang any further. The sect master is probably pissed that some random junior had managed to understand sword intent when it took him nearly his entire life to do so, the disciples thought to themselves as they looked at Elder Zhang. Disciple Lu no Luke Xuan, you can only blame yourself for being a coward and bringing shame to the divine sword sect. One of the disciples suddenly said, Senior Sister Yi, can you please help me out here? Ha, Senior Sister. Don't try and act like we have any kind of relationship now, Luke Xuan. The young lady coldly snorted. You have betrayed us the moment you stepped off that stage without a fight. If not for the millions of people here watching us, I would have already killed you. Anyway, we can continue this conversation later. Right now, we must focus on the match. Elder Zhang said to them. A few moments later, the Divine Sword Sect sends another disciple onto the stage. On behalf of the Divine Sword Sect, I apologize for what happened previously, as that does not reflect upon our sect's values. The disciple said to Xianxia in a calm manner. I don't care about any of that really. Xianxia quickly shrugged. Good, then allow me to give you a proper fight. The Divine Sword Sect disciple raised his sword, and an aura similar to the previous disciple surrounded him. Xianxia watched the young man with a serious expression. A moment later, Xianxia's eyes narrowed, and the sword in her grasp flew at the young man with incredible speed and sharpness. The young man was slightly surprised by Xianxia's sudden approach, but he managed to barely fend against her sword strike with his own sword technique. What a heavy strike! The young man could feel his arm become slightly numb after Xianxia's strike, who had prowess that should not belong to someone at the true spirit realm. Profound Blossom Art, Sweeping Petals. However, Xianxia did not give the disciple a chance to rest for even a second and immediately followed up with a second attack. The illusion of thousands of flower petals suddenly appeared and surrounded the Divine Sword Sect disciple, and each of these petals had the sharpness of a real sword. When Liu Lanjai saw this, her eyes widened with shock, and she mumbled to herself, how could a mere mortal-grade technique display such strength? At its current state, it definitely wouldn't lose to even an earth-grade technique. Haya, the Divine Sword Sect disciple, tried to break out of Xianxia's sword technique, but no matter how hard he tried, he wasn't able to escape. Feeling like a trapped beast, the disciple decided to force his way out of the technique, but alas, the second his body touched the petals, all of the petals attacked him simultaneously. Ah! The Divine Sword Sect disciple felt as though he was being pierced by thousands of tiny swords within that short moment, and a few seconds later, he collapsed onto the floor with blank eyes. The Divine Sword Sect's fighter has lost consciousness. The Profound Blossom Sect wins the second round. The audience erupted with shouting and pure noises after Zai Dong's announcement. What's going on? How did the Profound Blossom Sect suddenly become so much stronger out of the blue? This kind of monstrous growth is not something that talent could achieve alone. There must be something else that's helping them. The people there began to wonder if the Profound Blossom Sect had some heaven-defying treasure that allowed their disciples to become so powerful, as that would make the most sense for the majority. Their chapter 411, A Hopeless Situation. Xianxia, you can return now, Su Yang said to her after her victory. But I can still go on. She looked at him with a puzzled face. I know you have plenty of energy left, but I want the others to also display their strength. After all, it would look better for the sect if all of its disciples are equally capable, right? In the end, our goal in this tournament is to show the world what the new Profound Blossom Sect is capable of. Xianxia nodded. I understand. I am returning to the bench, Xianxia said to Zai Dong before walking off the stage. Meanwhile, the audience were puzzled by Xianxia's actions. Why did she suddenly leave the stage? She looks pretty energetic to me. Although she may look fine on the outside, do you understand how taxing it is on the body when one uses sword intent? She's probably exhausted on the inside after that attack just now. A few moments later, another disciple from each side stepped onto the stage. Of course, right before the Profound Blossom Sect disciple entered the stage, Su Yang had gently tapped her forehead again. Are you ready? Zai Dong asked them a moment later. They both nodded. Ha! The Divine Sword Sect disciple immediately released his fake sword intent and rushed at the young girl before him. However, the Profound Blossom Sect disciple also released her sword intent and managed to defend against the attack. What? The Profound Blossom Sect has another swordmaster. Many people in the audience stood up from shock as they could not believe what they were witnessing. Impossible, Elder Zhang exclaimed. How can they have more than one swordmaster? This is truly unexpected. Lord Zai rubbed his chin with his interest piqued. Just how did the Profound Blossom Sect cultivate so many swordmasters? While the audience was shocked speechless by the appearance of a second swordmaster, The disciples on the stage fought each other for a few minutes before the Profound Blossom Sect secured their third victory. "Great job, Sister May." The Profound Blossom Sect disciples cheered for her as she returned with a bashful expression. "That was nerve-wracking," Disciple May said. "I could have never imagined that I would one day defeat a genius from the renowned Divine Sword Sect." Sometime later, the Profound Blossom Sect sends out a new fighter. Of course, this disciple also had the ability to create sword intent. Oh my God! The Profound Blossom Sect actually has 3 swordmasters. What on earth is going on? Since when did swordmasters become a common thing? Common my ass, there are less than 10 swordmasters in this world. If these juniors were able to become swordmasters, I do not believe that I cannot do the same. The audience was in an uproar from the situation. As for Elder Zhang, he had a look on his face that resembled someone who did not sleep for an entire week and is currently hallucinating. Impossible. This is impossible. They must have some kind of trick that allows them to create sword intent. I will not believe that these juniors were able to become swordmasters in such a short time. Elder Zhang mumbled to himself endlessly like a crazy old man. A few minutes later, the Profound Blossom Sect obtained another victory. Good Lord! The Profound Blossom Sect is beating the unrivaled Divine Sword Sect 4-0. This is unprecedented. Bai Lihua finally understood why the Burning Lotus Sect agreed to form an alliance with the Profound Blossom Sect. Of course, the Burning Lotus Sect actually had no idea of their unexpected strength and was as shocked as everyone else at the place. "Elder Wang, is this why you wanted us to form an alliance with them so badly? Because you knew of their true strength all along?" The Burning Lotus Sect's master asked her with a dazed voice. Wang Xuren showed a bitter smile and shook her head. "No. I also had no idea that they would be this powerful." As time passed, the Profound Blossom Sect continued to send out a new fighter after every match, and as one would have expected by now, they were all able to create sword intent. I have heard rumors of him using sword intent during his fight with another outer court disciple, which I instantly disregarded as something impossible, and that the elder was simply seeing things. But alas, Elder Sun looked at Su Yang with wide eyes. This is simply too crazy. Are all of the disciples from the Profound Blossom Sect swordmasters? Lord Zai's interest had long turned into shock. However, this confirms my doubt. I am now certain that there's a master from the Holy Central Continent supporting the Profound Blossom Sect in the background. Although I do not know why this senior is helping them, I must find a way to speak with him. Lord Zai was thinking that if he could create a good relationship with this unknown master, the Zai family might obtain knowledge regarding the Holy Central Continent, and perhaps even some of this expert's experience, which is more valuable than any treasures he can obtain at this moment. Meanwhile, at the Divine Sword Sect's side, all of the disciples wore a grim expression on their faces. "We are currently down 7 fighters with 0 matches won, and to make matters even worse, Fang Zhelan and Sun Jingjing haven't even fought yet. This is the first time I am feeling such hopelessness," one of their disciples said in a low voice. "Hey!" After a moment of silence, Elder Zhang released a deep sigh. Although he already knew that they wouldn't win this match, he didn't expect to suffer such heavy losses without even fighting Su Yang. To think the disparity between us would be this much. "He's got me good." Elder Zhang looked at Su Yang with a defeated expression. However, he was not willing to surrender even in such times and said, "Although we might not win this, we will not surrender without a fight. If we are going to lose, we might as well lose with dignity." Chapter 412, He's Playing With Me. The match between the Profound Blossom Sect and the Divine Sword Sect continued, and after every match, another disciple that can use sword intent from the Profound Blossom Sect's side would appear to shock the audience even more than they already were. Good heavens! Is every single disciple from the Profound Blossom Sect a swordmaster? How are they cultivating such monsters? The Profound Blossom Sect alone has doubled the number of swordmasters in this world. This is unprecedented. Why haven't they stopped this match already? It's clear as day to everyone that the Divine Sword Sect will be losing this one. Unless their last fighter is on the same level as Hong Yuer, it's an impossible comeback for them. It's not about the results but the spirit. At least the Divine Sword Sect did not immediately forfeit. Yikai, you are the only one left. Elder Zhang looked at the tall beauty that stood before him. Yikai is one of the most talented individuals in the entire Divine Sword Sect, reaching the third-level Earth Spirit realm by only 25 years old. She is also known as the Divine Sword Maiden by many mortals and cultivators alike. Although I won't be able to win the tournament for us, I definitely won't let this match end without a single win, Yikai said to her fellow disciples with an unfazed expression before approaching the stage. Once she was on the stage, Yikai shouted loudly, "Come out, Fang Zhelan, I challenge you to a fight." Did you hear that? Divine Sword Maiden Yi is actually calling out someone. She must be really irritated right now because of their situation. The audience nervously waited for Fang Zhelan to enter the stage. "I will be going now," Fang Zhelan said to them. However, right as she began walking, someone suddenly grabbed onto her shoulder, halting her. Su Yang. Fang Zhelan looked at him with a questioning face. Why'd he stop her? "I got this," he said with a smile on his face. You want to fight her?" Liu Lanjai raised her eyebrows in surprise. "That old man will complain to me later if I don't enter the stage myself after everything I've said to him after all," Su Yang said as he slowly approached the stage. "What's going on? Why is he the one entering the stage?" The audience was dumbfounded by Su Yang's appearance as they were all expecting Fang Zhelan. "Why the hell are you here? I called for Fang Zhelan, not you. Although you defeated someone in the Earth Spirit realm, you are no match for me. Get out of my sight and bring Fang Zhelan to me," Yikai said to him with a frown. Su Yang remained calm and spoke. "If you cannot defeat me, then what makes you think that you will defeat Fang Zhelan? HMPH. Are you trying to make me waste my energy before I fight her? If you think such tactics would work, then you will be sorely disappointed." "Are the two of you ready to fight?" Zidong suddenly asked them. He then turned to look at Yikai and continued, "You cannot choose your opponent. If you want to fight Fang Zhelan, then you must defeat him first." "I understand. I will deal with him real quick." Meanwhile, Elder Zhang was shaking his head. "I can only hope that she'll overcome whatever is about to happen," Elder Zhang thought to himself as he stared at Yikai and Su Yang. "Let the match begin," Zidong shouted a moment later. However, neither of them moved and only stared at each other in silence. "What are you waiting for? Come and defeat me quickly," Su Yang said to her with a smile. "I can ask you the same question. You won't exhaust my energy if you continue standing there," she responded with a nonchalant expression. "Hurry up and show me your sword intent. You should also be able to emit it, right?" she then said to him. "I don't need sword intent to defeat someone at your level." "How arrogant!" Yikai coldly snorted and immediately drew her sword. A second later, an incredibly sharp aura surrounded Yikai, almost like she'd turned into a sword. As expected of the one people call Divine Sword Maiden, huh? Although it's still not real sword intent, it's quite close. You should understand real sword intent after another 10 years of training at your pace," Su Yang said. "I don't need you to lecture me. Take this strike." Yikai swung the sword in her grasp, causing an arc of sword light created by her sword aura to fly towards Su Yang like an aggressive bird. Seeing the sword light flying at him, Su Yang merely raised his hand and chopped it down like he was cutting the air. The second his hand touched the arc of light, his hand sliced it in half, almost like a sword chopping a tree branch in half. What? Yikai's eyes widened with shock after witnessing Su Yang deal with her attack so casually and without any effort. That attack wasn't bad, it's slightly better than our girls, Su Yang said as he nonchalantly dusted his hands. Shut up. Yikeyu suddenly rushed at him with an irritated expression. You are agitated too easily. It'll affect your future cultivation. Su Yang slightly shifted his body, dodging her attack entirely. After dodging her attack, Su Yang grabbed the sword in her hands by the blade with his bare hands, shocking the people that were watching. He grabbed the blade with his bare hands. Is he crazy? The audience exclaimed. The people expected Yikeyu to slice off a few of his fingers, but Su Yang actually disarmed her and stole her sword. What are you going to do without your sword now? Su Yang said with a smile. This bastard, he's playing with me. He's actually playing with me, Yikeyu. Just who is he? She cried inwardly. Chapter 413, revealing his true strength after taking away Yikeyu's sword. Su Yang tossed it outside the stage where she cannot reach it. That's dirty, some of the audience exclaimed. However, Yikeyu merely snorted and spoke. Do you think I am useless without a sword? Even though I may not have sword intent, I can still do things like this. Yikeyu raised her hands, and a sharp aura engulfed her arms, turning them into swords. Ho! Even though you cannot use sword intent, you can still use sword aura. That's quite impressive coming from someone born in this place. Su Yang nodded with approval. Although Yikeyu's talent may be insignificant within the four divine heavens, she is definitely one of the most talented individuals on this continent. If you wish to further improve your swordsmanship, give the Profound Blossom Sect a visit. I'll help you learn sword intent within a month. Su Yang suddenly said to her with a smile. What? Yikeyu couldn't believe her ears. Is he trying to recruit her before her own sect? Just how shameless can he be? Even Elder Zhang couldn't help but shout after hearing his words. Su Yang, what are you trying to pull? How dare you try and convert my disciple before me? Su Yang raised an eyebrow and said, Who's trying to convert who? I am merely trying to help her improve her swordsmanship, as you guys are clearly not doing it properly. Are you claiming that the Divine Sword Sect is not training their disciples properly? I didn't say that. However, if I were the one training her, she would have become a real swordmaster years ago. Su Yang shrugged. You're wasting her talents. Elder Zhang's face fumed with redness. He wanted to refute Su Yang's words, but when he recalled all of their disciples with sword intent, he wasn't able to utter even a single word. Su Yang then turned to look at Yikeyu and continued, Although you're my opponent right now, I will always be willing to help a beauty out. If you ever decide that you want to become a swordmaster in a month instead of 10 years, find me after the regional tournament. I will train you properly, and I can also promise you that you'll become the strongest swordmaster this world has ever seen. Yikeyu was speechless, as she didn't expect him to be poaching her in such a moment. However, as skeptical as she was, Su Yang's clear voice was very convincing sounding. Of course, you won't have to leave the Divine Sword Sect, he suddenly added. You're lying. There's no way that you can help me. You have no qualifications to speak about sword intent, much less lecture others about it. In fact, you probably just want to do vulgar things to me, Yikeyu said to him. If I am not qualified to talk about sword intent, then nobody in this world is qualified. Su Yang spoke with a domineering voice, dumbfounding everybody there. This Su Yang fellow is really arrogant despite being only at the profound spirit realm. Although he clearly has some abilities, he's still too young to be lecturing others. Yeah, he dares to lecture the Divine Sword Maiden about sword intent when he himself hasn't even proved that he can use sword intent. I bet that he's the only one who can't use sword intent within the Profound Blossom Sect, or else he wouldn't have made that excuse in the beginning. What do you think he's trying to do, Sect Master? Why does he want to train her into a sword master? One of the disciples asked Liu Lanjai. It's most likely for credibility, said Liu Lanjai. If he can help the Divine Sword Maiden become a true swordmaster, people who wish to become a swordmaster would flock to the Profound Blossom Sect like birds in a park before food. After a moment of silence, she continued speaking, or, he just wants to get inside her robes. The disciples were speechless after hearing her latter sentence. If you still don't believe me, you can ask your sect master. He knows a little about me, after all. Su Yang said to her while looking at Elder Zhang with a smile on his face. Don't listen to him, Ye Ku. Although his swordsmanship is even better than mine, he's not trustworthy as a person, Elder Zhang suddenly said. What did you just say, sect master? Ye Ku, and everybody that heard Elder Zhang's words turned to look at him with wide eyes filled with shock. I said that he's not someone you can trust. He's the type who always has an ulterior motive, Elder Zhang repeated. Not that, sect master. What you said before that. Although his swordsmanship is even better than mine. Elder Zhang finally realized what he'd said and stared at Ye Ku with a slightly red face. However, he coughed it off a moment later and turned to look at Su Yang with a serious expression and said, Su Yang, why are you still pretending to be a weakling at the profound spirit realm? Your real strength will be revealed sooner or later, so why don't you remove that veil around you already? Su Yang's eyes narrowed slightly after hearing Elder Zhang's words, and he spoke. I never intended to hide my true strength for this long. It's just that there has been no reason for me to reveal it. However, since it's going to be revealed tomorrow anyway, I might as well do it now, right? Su Yang turned to look at Ye Ku and said, Don't be mistaken. Your current strength is not nearly enough for me to use my real strength. But since you asked for my qualifications, then allow me to show you my qualifications. What? Before Ye Ku could even respond, Su Yang's eyes flickered with profoundness, and as though a sleeping dragon had been awakened, his body exploded with a terrifying aura that shook the heart of everyone present. Su Yang's cultivation stage that had been in the profound spirit realm suddenly broke through to the true spirit realm instantly, before it quickly reached the peak of the true spirit realm within seconds. A moment later, his cultivation entered the earth spirit realm. However, it did not stop there as his cultivation base continued to rise. The first level earth spirit realm, second level, fourth level, seventh level, ninth level. After reaching the ninth level earth spirit realm, his cultivation base halted for a few seconds before it instantly entered the heavenly spirit realm. Why you are actually, that is impossible. Ye Ku fell on her buttocks after seeing the dramatic change in Su Yang's cultivation base. It was as though she was watching a baby grow into an adult in mere moments. It was not just Ye Ku. Almost everyone watching had stood up from shock, their eyes filled with disbelief. Heavenly spirit realm. Liu Lanjai almost collapsed from shock after learning Su Yang's true strength. Good heavens! Elder Sun's mouth was wide open, as were the Sun family that had been silently watching from the spectators' seats. As expected of my beloved elder brother, there's nobody in this world that's cooler and more handsome than him. Su Yin's body trembled with delight, whilst her master, Bai Lihua, merely stood there with a dazed look on her face. After his dramatic transformation, Su Yang looked at Ye Ku with a smug smile on his face and spoke. Now then. Do you still doubt my qualifications? Chapter 414, Entering the Finals. Ye Ku was speechless before Su Yang's intimidating aura at the heavenly spirit realm, feeling like she was an ant before an elephant. In fact, Su Yang's profound qi is much thicker and richer than the average cultivator at the heavenly spirit realm thanks to his superior cultivation technique and all of the yin qi he'd absorbed. Oh, right. Even if one is in the heavenly spirit realm, it does not mean that he can use sword intent. Su Yang slowly unsheathed the sword by his side, causing his already tremendous aura to grow even further. Once he revealed the sword, it was as though countless invisible swords had appeared around him, sweeping through the place. This illusion caused everyone there to sweat profusely, as they believed that the invisible swords would actually cut them if they touched it. What kind of sword intent is that? Elder Zhang's jaw dropped to the floor, as he has never seen sword intent that was powerful enough to create such realistic illusions. This man, he's actually more terrifying than I'd thought, Lord Zai pondered to himself with a slight frown. Even though Su Yang's only in the early stages of the heavenly spirit realm, Lord Zai was not confident that he would beat Su Yang with his peak heavenly spirit realm cultivation. I can't believe it. The Profound Blossom Sect actually has a junior at the heavenly spirit realm too. Hong Yuer has finally found her match. This will be an unprecedented fight in the tournament. No, unless Hong Yuer knows sword intent, this young man is currently at an advantage. The audience was already filled with anticipation for their match. Meanwhile, Yikayu was trembling on the stage before Su Yang's tyrannical aura, feeling absolutely powerless before his sword intent. What I am showing you here today is merely the tip of the blade. If you want to know more about the sword, find me at the Profound Blossom Sect, Su Yang said. Now, do you wish to continue with the fight? Fight! Yikayu laughed in a self-mocking tone for a moment before standing up and slowly walking off the stage with a dejected expression. Seeing this, Zai Dong quickly announced, after an unexpected and shocking turnaround, Yikayu has left the stage, forfeiting the match. The Profound Blossom Sect wins the match and will be heading into the finals tomorrow. However, even though the Profound Blossom Sect won this match, the audience was dead silent, almost as though they were still shocked speechless by Su Yang's true strength. Do you have anything that you would like to say to the audience right now? Zai Dong asked Su Yang. Of course I do, but right now is not the time. It will have to wait until we take the championship tomorrow. I see. Zai Dong was speechless and said nothing else afterward. This is a problem, Gu Guanting mumbled with a deep frown on his face. I would have never expected them to also have someone at the heavenly spirit realm. Hong Yuer, do you think you'll be able to defeat him? Who knows? Hong Yuer casually responded with a nonchalant expression, almost like she wasn't interested in the topic. Anyway, we can talk about him after our own match, Gu Guanting said. After the Profound Blossom Sect's match, the Azure Cloud Sect entered the stage, and as one would have expected, the Azure Cloud Sect defeated their opponent with ease. In fact, the Azure Cloud Sect had sent out Hong Yuer as their only fighter. The Azure Cloud Sect will be heading into the finals tomorrow, where they will fight the Profound Blossom Sect for the championship, Zai Dong said to everyone. After the tournament for the day ended, as the Profound Blossom Sect prepared to return to their living quarters, they were bombarded with countless people. Master Su, I am the head of the Jiang family, and this young one over here is my daughter. I am Chai Jing of the Chai family from the western region, and my daughter would like to have a word with you. Just like the situation with Fang Zhelan and Hong Yuer, countless families approached Su Yang with the intent to court him with their daughters after learning of his talents and potential. A talented young man at the heavenly spirit realm is something all families desired, much less someone as handsome and dazzling as Su Yang, who has seemingly unrivaled talent and appearances. Even if Su Yang belonged to a vulgar place such as the Profound Blossom Sect and has countless experience with other women, the maidens that currently surrounded him did not care for any of that and were willing to throw themselves at him even if they would only be a mere bed warmer for him. Hundreds of beauties surrounded Su Yang at this moment, but in his view, there was only a single person, and that individual wasn't even a woman. In fact, it was a middle-aged man with a sharp face and stubborn-looking expression. I didn't think you would approach me, Su Yang said to him. What do you want from me now? If you want me to return to the family, I'll have to reject your offer. Look, that's Su Zun, head of the Su family. The people there quickly recognized the middle-aged man. Su family of the four great families. As one would have expected, being one of the biggest families on this continent, the Su family is easily recognized no matter where they go, especially if that individual is the head of the Su family, Su Zun, who has countless achievements under his belt. Forget about that. Did you hear what that young man just said? He's related to the Su family. No wonder why he's so talented, as expected from someone born in such a family. I should have known after hearing his name. This also means that he's Fairy Su Yin's brother. After learning that Su Yang was from one of the four great families, the small families that surrounded him slowly stepped back. They realized that it was but a fool's dream to try and court someone from the Su family. Thank you for listening to the story on KevinAudio.com chapter 415. Their secret revealed senior apprentice brother was from one of the four great families all along. The disciples from the Profound Blossom Sect were shocked to learn this news, as only Fang Zhelen knew about it after Liu Lanjai told her the truth. Wait a moment. Su Yin, his junior sister, is also from the Su family. How could I have overlooked such a thing? You're right. I guess it never really registered in my mind that his junior sister was from the Su family. What a blunder. Although it had been announced during the tournament that Su Yin was from the Su family, nobody from the Profound Blossom Sect really thought about it, as for some unknown reason, it had completely slipped through their minds. Furthermore, the way Su Yin acts simply does not make her appear to be someone with an impressive background. Oh heavens! I have been sleeping with someone from one of the four great families. Things just keep getting more unrealistic as the days pass. So, what do you want from me? Su Yang ignored the surrounding noises and asked him. However, before Su Zun could even respond, another voice resounded, and it was in a tone filled with anger. Father, where have you been lately? And what are you doing here? Su Yin suddenly appeared behind Su Yang, and following behind her was Bai Lihua, who was looking at Su Yang with a slightly dazed expression. I have been here this entire time, silently watching the both of you. Su Zun spoke with a solemn voice. Well, do you have any idea how much I have been wanting to speak with you? I have heard everything from elder brother. I know that you'd sealed his memories and abandoned him at the Profound Blossom Sect. I want explanations. Su Yin shouted loudly, revealing everything to the people there. What? Why would Senior Su abandon such a talented son? The people there were puzzled and baffled by the news. Ahem. Su Zun loudly cleared his throat and spoke with a slightly red face. I will answer all of your questions, but let's go somewhere else before I do, okay? Su Yin looked at Su Yang, who casually nodded. Since some important matter has come up, I will take my leave for now. Su Yang said to the people there, and unsurprisingly, nobody dared to stop him from leaving with the Su family. Once they were gone, the people there went into an uproar. Did you hear that? Not only is Su Yang from one of the four great families, but he was even abandoned by them. Does this mean he no longer has any connections with them? This is a huge opportunity for the smaller families. If he doesn't belong to the Su family, he's basically up for grabs by anyone. News of Su Yang's real background began spreading throughout the city like wildfire, shocking every individual that heard it. What? That handsome young man was from the Su family all along. No wonder why he's so talented. Everything makes more sense now. No matter the reason to have abandoned such a talented son, I would be kicking myself right now. I remember now. Although he rarely made any appearances, the Su family indeed had a son named Su Yang, who was also considered missing. To think he wasn't actually missing but had been abandoned instead. As the news of Su Yang spread even outside of the city, the Su family was having a private conversation within the Snow Crystal Hotel. Inside a small room, both Su Yang and Su Yin stood before Su Zun, their father. Now that we are alone, explain yourself, father. If you don't give me a good explanation, I won't return to the family as well. Su Yin spoke with a frown on her face. Su Zun rubbed his temples and said, Before I explain myself, why don't the two of you explain yourselves first? What do you mean? The frown on Su Yin's face deepened. Su Zun turned to look at Su Yang and spoke. Since you have recovered your memories, I will assume that you remember everything. That's correct. Su Yang calmly nodded. Then why don't you explain to me your secret relationship with your sister, huh? Do you think I am unaware of what you two had been doing behind closed doors? Su Zun roared, finally spewing the secret that he'd kept hidden in his heart for many years. That's... Su Yin's face began turning red, immediately becoming speechless. She truly didn't expect him to find out about their secret. Su Zun looked at Su Yin and continued, "Just because you close the doors does not mean it will transport the two of you into another world where only the two of you exist. Furthermore, even with the closed doors, your voice is freaking loud, Su Yin. There were a few times I heard your giggles from the hallway." What? As though someone had dumped a bucket of red paint on her head, Su Yin's head flushed with redness. "I have believed for the longest time that you two were only playing some funny game, but when I finally decided to take a peek one day, do you have any idea the shock I received after seeing what the two of you were engaged in that day? My stomach curls even as I am recalling what I'd witnessed. Good Lord, are you not aware of your relationship as siblings? If this had been revealed to the public, I cannot even imagine the consequences. The entire Su family would become a laughing stock. And in order to put a stop to it, I had decided to remove one of you from the house. Su Yin, you are a true genius, one that surpassed both your elder brothers, so I choose to remove you, Su Yang, who showed zero interest in cultivation and would only become a burden in the future." "No way, so that's why you..." Su Yin was truly speechless now. To think the reason their father abandoned Su Yang was because he'd learned of their secret relationship. "So, what do you have to say for yourselves?" Su Zun stood there with a domineering aura. However, Su Yang remained calm and spoke in a clear voice. "It's complicated." Chapter 416, Acceptance. "It's complicated, you say?" Su Zun roared in anger at his nonchalant response. "You are lucky that I didn't outright kill you and abandon your corpse in the wilderness for the beasts to devour." Su Yang shrugged. It was not as if he could tell Su Zun that he was reincarnated, but all of his memories did not return until after he entered the Profound Blossom Sect, and that the previous Su Yang no longer exists. "Father, there is no other explanation required other than the fact that we love each other." Su Yin suddenly stepped in and spoke in a brave tone. "To hell with love, even if you say that there is a limit." Su Zun did not accept such an explanation. "There is no limit on love," Su Yin snorted. Hey," Su Yang suddenly interrupted. "What is it?" Su Zun frowned. "Why do you reject the idea of siblings being partners so much? Although it's an uncommon theme, I know of many people who started families as siblings." Su Yang said. Really?" Su Yin's eyes flickered with excitement after hearing his words. "Do you have any idea what happens to the child when siblings conceive? They become deformed more often than not. That's why it's considered a taboo in this world," Su Zun said to him. "Oh, so that's why you are freaking out over something so insignificant." Su Yang nodded as though he'd understood something. "What did you just say? Insignificant? How dare you?" Su Zun roared. Su Yang shook his head and continued, "While it's true that such instances do happen and are unfortunate, that only applies to mortals who do not cultivate. When it comes to cultivators, because of the spiritual energy within our body, there's less chance of such incidents. Furthermore, once a cultivator reaches the heavenly spirit realm, that chance no longer exists, so siblings will be able to convince without needing to worry about their child being deformed." "Really?" Su Yin couldn't believe her ears, as her worst fears had been relieved. "What kind of nonsense?" Before Su Zun could even speak, Su Yang continued. "Due to the lack of cultivators at the heavenly spirit realm in this place, of course, you won't have any examples. Since there are no examples, how can you be so confident in your words?" Su Yang smiled and said, "Because I am more experienced than you in terms of cultivation, and that." You little, although he didn't want to admit it, since Su Yang managed to reach the heavenly spirit realm at such a young age, he was more qualified than him, especially in terms of dual cultivation. Elder brother, does this mean that if I reach the heavenly spirit realm, I will be able to bear your child? Su Yin asked him with anticipating eyes. That's a topic for another day, Su Yang said to her. Anyway, now that your main concern is gone, do you still have any other problem with our relationship? Su Yang asked him in a calm and clear voice, almost as though he has used this sentence many times in his life. It is not as simple as that. Do you have any idea what the world will think about this once they learn the truth? Su Zun said. Then it's fine as long as they don't find out, Su Yin asked. This is. Su Zun was speechless. He could no longer find any energy to argue with them, as it feels like they will have an excuse for every problem he has with them. After a moment of silence, Su Zun rubbed his temples and spoke in a sighing voice. I don't care anymore. You're both adults now, so you can do whatever you want. Really? Su Yin looked at him with disbelief. She would have never imagined that her father would actually approve of their relationship, not in a million years. Hell, she was prepared to leave the Su family if he continued to refuse. However, if I hear a single word about your relationship outside of the family, I will outright disown the both of you, Su Zun continued. I have already left the family, so you can't disown me anymore, Su Yang casually said. Shut up. I don't want to hear another word coming out of your mouth, Su Zun said before quickly stomping out of the room, as he did not want to give them a chance to speak back anymore. Is everything okay, Senior Su? Liu Lanjai asked him with a worried face after seeing him leave in a hurry. I hope so, he sighed and continued. Anyway, I would like to take this chance to thank you properly for taking care of my child. He must have been a troublemaker, right? Who knows what would have happened if you didn't take him in? Liu Lanjai immediately shook her head and said, No, no, no. I should be the one thanking you. Without Su Yang, the Profound Blossom Sect would not even exist right now. By the way, I know that I have no place in meddling with your family's affair, but it's actually not that uncommon for siblings to, Being the sect master in the Profound Blossom Sect for some time now, I have personally witnessed many siblings come together, so I hope that you can give them a chance. Although she didn't hear their conversation, knowing Su Yang's character and Su Yin's behavior when around him, it was as clear as day their current problem. Don't worry, I will not meddle with them anymore, Su Zun sighed with a defeated expression. So you approve of their relationship? Liu Lanjai was slightly surprised. No, instead of approving them, it's more like acceptance. I realize after our conversation just now that no matter what I say to her, Su Yin will continue to love her brother. As cringy as it may sound, that's just how love works, Liu Lanjai said with a smile on her face. Is that so then? Please continue taking care of them. I will also continue supporting the Profound Blossom Sect. Really? Liu Lanjai looked at him with wide eyes. I heard the Heavenly Swan Sect and the Profound Blossom Sect formed an alliance. The Su family will support the two of you. This is the least I can do as their father. Thank you, Senior Su. Liu Lanjai bowed to him. Chapter 417. I doubt you'll be able to satisfy him alone. After Su Zun left the room, Su Yin turned to look at Su Yang and spoke with hearts in her eyes. Beloved brother, now that father will no longer bother us, we can do whatever we want. Su Yang smiled and said, Let's wait until you're an adult before we talk about that. Okay. Since her 16th birthday is only a few weeks away, she wasn't disappointed by his answer. In fact, her anticipation even went up. Sometime later, Su Yang gathered all of the disciples and said, Tomorrow is the finals. Once we beat the Azure Cloud Sect, our Profound Blossom Sect will become the #1 sect in the Eastern Continent. What do you mean we? The match is practically a 1 versus 1. Bai Lihua, who followed them to their hotel, said to him, If you don't defeat Hong Yuer, the Azure Cloud Sect wins. If you defeat Hong Yuer, the Profound Blossom Sect wins. It's simple as that. Well, you're not wrong. Su Yang smiled. If Hong Yuer loses, the rest of the Azure Cloud Sect would not hold a candle against the rest of you. However, if Hong Yuer defeats Su Yang, she might very well sweep through the rest of the disciples. Of course, Fang Zhelin might be able to defeat Hong Yuer if she's exhausted after fighting with Su Yang. But even with such a disadvantage, the difference between Heavenly Spirit Realm and Earth Spirit Realm is simply too vast. By the way, I have been dying to ask just how did you reach the Heavenly Spirit Realm at that age? Bai Lihua suddenly asked him, and everyone there stared at him with intensive gazes. There's no secret behind it, really. But if you really want to know, you can find me in the Profound Blossom Sect and I will personally show you how I cultivate. Su Yang said to her with a smile on his face. You. Bai Lihua was speechless. Besides Su Yang, there is probably no other junior in this world who would dare to speak to her in such a vulgar manner. However, as much as she hates to admit it, his offer was very tempting. After all, he managed to raise all of these disciples to be top geniuses all by himself, and in such a short time. If she could also experience similar growth just by offering her body to Su Yang, it might actually be worth it. Furthermore, regardless of his age or character, it is already guaranteed that Su Yang will become someone with a tremendous presence in the cultivation world after the regional tournament ends. And once the single women in this world learns of his existence, there would be countless beauties waiting in line for him. In the world of cultivation, the only thing that mattered in a man is their background and power, while everything else secondary. Not only is he a one-in-a-billion genius, but he's also from the 4 great families. He's still young and his appearance is also extraordinary. This man is what women would define as a perfect man. Bai Lihua thought to herself. Don't worry, you can take your time deciding. My door will always be open for you. Su Yang suddenly said to her. Shut up, who would? Bai Lihua immediately blushed. Su Yin, I am leaving with or without you, she said to her before quickly walking away. I'll see you later, elder brother. Su Yin made a swift movement and kissed Su Yang on the cheeks before skipping away with a blissful expression. Once Su Yin and Bai Lihua disappeared, Liu Lanjai spoke. Su Yang, how confident are you in defeating Hong Yuer? Su Yang showed a pondering expression for a moment before saying, I'd say 110% confident. Really? Su Yang nodded and continued. Although Hong Yuer has an impressive cultivation base and admirable swordsmanship, she's still slightly behind me in terms of cultivation and the sword. Furthermore, after watching her fight for the past week, I am certain that she has nothing else to show. In other words, she has no trump cards whilst I have plenty. With that being said, it definitely won't be an easy fight. Su Yang, you will need a lot of energy for tomorrow's fight, right? I will cultivate with you tonight. Fang Zhelin suddenly said to him. I doubt you'll be able to satisfy him alone. I'll also join, Sun Jingjing said with a smile. I'll also cultivate with you. Me too. Let's all cultivate until the sun rises. The disciples were eager to cultivate with Su Yang, as this is the only way they can feel like they are actually contributing to the fight tomorrow. Liu Lanjai looked at the happy disciples with a pondering expression. After a moment of silence, she spoke. I have never experienced group cultivation before, so allow me to join you this time. All of the disciples looked at her with wide eyes, seemingly in disbelief. Did I just hear you properly, Sect Master? You said you want to join us, Fang Zhelin asked her. That's exactly what I said, or would you rather not have me there? Liu Lanjai spoke with a calm expression. That's not it, Sect Master, it's just that I never expected you to. Liu Lanjai smiled and said, well, there's always a first time for everything. The Sect Master will be cultivating with us. This feels unreal. Just don't fall behind the disciples, Sect Master, Sun Jingjing teased her. Oh, that's quite the confidence you got there. Are you willing to make a bet with me? What kind of bet? Whoever endures the longest wins the bet, and the loser is prohibited from cultivating with Su Yang for 1 month. 1 month? Sun Jingjing's eyes widened with shock. She cannot imagine what it would be like to not cultivate with him for 1 week straight, much less an entire month. I thought you were confident in your abilities. Liu Lanjai showed her a smug look. Why you're on, Sect Master, I will accept this challenge. Sun Jingjing nodded. Let's go, Su Yang, we are going to cultivate right now. Sun Jingjing said as she dragged him into their room. Wait for us. The other disciples and Liu Lanjai quickly followed their steps, entering the room with them. Chapter 418 Astonishing Endurance. A few hours have passed since the disciples dragged Su Yang into a private room, and he'd exhausted every disciple in the room except for Liu Lanjai and Sun Jingjing. Fang Zhelan released a satisfied moan before falling on the bed with her body glistening in sweat and yin qi. It's just the two of you left now. Which of you want to go first? Su Yang asked them. Sect Master, you should go first, Sun Jingjing said to her. Why should I go first? She raised an eyebrow. Because if I went first, you wouldn't even get a chance to cultivate, as it'll simply take too long. After hearing Sun Jingjing's words, Liu Lanjai immediately frowned. Ho, since when did you become so arrogant? Have you forgotten? You were but a mere maiden just a few months ago, whilst I have been cultivating for over 50 years, Liu Lanjai said. However, since you insist, I shall go first. Don't blame me if you lose the bet because of your arrogance. Sun Jingjing merely jiggled and said, Su Yang, do the both of us at 20%. Su Yang raised an eyebrow and asked, Are you sure? It won't be a challenge if you go easy on us. Sun Jingjing nodded. Wait, what's this 20%? Liu Lanjai looked at them with an ominous feeling in her stomach. You will understand it once we begin, said Su Yang with a mysterious smile on his face. Now then, are you ready? Su Yang extended his hand like he wanted a handshake. Although she was slightly nervous, Liu Lanjai nodded and grabbed his hand. After grabbing his hand, Su Yang instantly pulled her to the bed and began ravaging her body with both his mouth and fingers. Ah! Liu Lanjai was taken aback by the sudden aggressiveness, but was instantly fascinated by the way her body was feeling. While this is obviously not her first time cultivating with Su Yang, it felt entirely different, almost like she was cultivating with another individual. Furthermore, the pleasure was also much more intensive. Meanwhile, the other disciples watched with dazed expressions on their faces as their respected sect master made erotic expressions that they have never witnessed before and sexy noises they have never heard of before. Wow! So this is what it looks like when sect master cultivates. It's so intensive, one of the disciples mumbled. As expected of the sect master, she has a body that makes even someone like me want to embrace it. I could have never imagined that I would one day watch the sect master performing such acts only a few meters away from me. However, despite the disciples' constant staring, almost as though she was in her own world, Liu Lanjai continued to indulge herself in pleasure. 30 minutes later, Liu Lanjai laid on the bed with an exhausted expression and gasping for air, her body still twitching with delight. 30 minutes, huh? Looks like I will be winning this one after all, sect master. Sun Jingjing said to her with a grin. What kind of trick did you use, Su Yang? I have cultivated with you multiple times, but none of them were as intensive as today, Liu Lanjai asked him after catching her breath. I didn't use any tricks, he calmly responded. It's just that I have always been holding myself back when I cultivate with all of you. In fact, I have never used more than 15% of my techniques on you before today. Are you serious? Liu Lanjai looked at him with a dumbfounded look. To think that he'd been holding himself back this entire time and still managed to make them feel like they're in heaven. If you're already this good with only 15% of your abilities, then I wonder what it would feel like to cultivate with you at 100%. Liu Lanjai said with a smile. However, Su Yang merely shook his head and said, I mean no offense when I say this, but it's not something any of you can handle. If I use all of my techniques on you, I doubt you would remain sane afterward. It's that serious. Liu Lanjai was in disbelief. Although he would rather cultivate with everything that he's got, even in the four divine heavens, there are very few people who can handle all of his techniques. And the amount of people who have gone insane or become sex deviants after experiencing his 100% is more than just a few. In fact, his dual cultivation techniques are so godly and irresistible that he has used it more to punish or torture an enemy than to satisfy his partners. Come on, Su Yang. It's my turn now. My body is already exhausted from waiting so long. Sun Jingjing suddenly jumped into his embrace. Once the two of them started cultivating, Liu Lanjai asked the other disciples, how long can she last at 20%? The disciples exchanged looks with each other before looking at Liu Lanjai with a bitter smile. She can probably last an entire night. What? That's impossible. How can she last that long? Liu Lanjai was gobsmacked by their answer. However, the disciples shook their heads and said, even we are shocked by her level of endurance, sect master. She couldn't even last 10 minutes not long ago, but suddenly, out of the blue, she can cultivate with Su Yang as though they have been doing it for years. It's almost like she'd been blessed by something. That's absurd. You don't just suddenly become accustomed to something as intense as this. You need many months, if not years, to cultivate an endurance for dual cultivation this intense. Liu Lanjai was unsure of what to feel at this moment. Should she be upset that she'd been beaten by a little girl who only lost her virginity recently, or should she be happy for Sun Jingjing, who seems to have an extraordinary talent for dual cultivation? I know how you feel, sect master. Fang Zhelen suddenly said with a bitter smile on her face. I was very proud of my endurance when cultivating with Su Yang until not long ago. But alas, it appears that I am nothing at all compared to junior sister here. The disciples there sighed, silently wondering to themselves how Sun Jingjing suddenly gained such a powerful body. Chapter 419. Final day of the tournament. 3 hours have passed since Sun Jingjing started her cultivation with Su Yang, yet she still shows no signs of exhaustion. In fact, she looked even more energetic than when they first began. Tilde. Sun Jingjing moaned softly as Su Yang rammed his enormous penis into her tight and wet vagina. She's really on an entirely different level than us. The disciples stared in shock. I still can't believe that I would lose to someone who was a maiden until a few months ago. Liu Lanjai shook her head. At this rate, she will be cultivating with him until the morning. The disciples continued to watch their cultivation as they waited for their stamina to return. Sometime later, Sun Jingjing's moaning grew louder and sharper, and Su Yang's movements were noticeably quicker and fiercer. I can't any more. A few minutes later, Sun Jingjing suddenly shouted. However, upon hearing her charming voice, Su Yang only moved even faster and stronger. It's coming. After a few more moments, Sun Jingjing's body twitches uncontrollably, before her vagina squirts out yin qi like a fountain. As Su Yang laid her body down and unplugged his penis from her vagina, yang qi could be seen overflowing from her hole. The disciples swallowed their saliva after seeing this scene, and their body could feel a tingling sensation arousing their lust. We still have a few hours before the tournament. Who wants to continue cultivating? Su Yang turned to look at them and asked. Me. Me. I want to continue. All of the disciples eagerly raised their hands. Su Yang smiled and said, come, I will satisfy 3 of you at once now. After Su Yang began cultivating with the other disciples, Sun Jingjing said to Liu Lanjai, this is why I didn't want to make the bet with you, sect master. Now it looks like I am bullying you. You don't have to take the bet seriously either. However, Liu Lanjai shook her head and said in a defeated voice, it's my defeat, and I am not someone who will go back on my own words. Since you won this bet, I won't cultivate with him for the rest of this month. Are you sure about that, sect master? I will feel bad if your cultivation diminishes because of it. Sun Jingjing insisted that she does not stop her cultivation, especially since she is already behind her disciples. You don't have to say another word. It's fine, really. Liu Lanjai nodded. A moment later she continued, by the way, I have been meaning to ask, what's that symbol below your stomach? Why is it Su Yang's family name? This is. Sun Jingjing scrambled her mind trying to find an excuse for her family crest. This is a symbol of our love, she said with a red face. I don't get it. Liu Lanjai raised an eyebrow, looking at Sun Jingjing as though she was a weirdo. The disciples and Su Yang continued to cultivate for the remainder of the night and into the morning until the final match was only 2 hours away. Su Yang, the match is in 2 hours. Liu Lanjai reminded him, who was still cultivating with the disciples. Oh, really? Su Yang casually responded, acting as though the match wasn't even that important to begin with. We should start heading there now. Who knows how many people will be trying to get inside the Colosseum today? Su Yang nodded and increased his intensity, making the disciple climax with pleasure in mere seconds. Sometime later, everybody from the Profound Blossom Sect gathered at the front of the hotel, where the Heavenly Swan Sect and the Burning Lotus Sect were unexpectedly outside and waiting for them. You guys sure took your sweet time. It's almost like you aren't even concerned about the match. Bai Lihua shook her head after seeing them. Sorry, we just finished cultivating. Liu Lanjai said casually. Everybody there looked at her with wide eyes. So they were, just now, having sex. The Burning Lotus Sect and Heavenly Swan Sect's disciples wondered inwardly, dumbfounded by their carefree and shameless nature. If it were them, they would be too nervous to sleep, much less doing such acts. How envious! I also want to do it with elder brother, Su Yin mumbled in a mosquito-like voice. As they walked to the Colosseum, the female disciples from both sects were glancing at Su Yang from the side of their eyes, with some of them even slightly blushing. After learning that he was a heavenly spirit realm expert at such a young age, not to mention his impressive background, their perspectives on him had changed entirely, and he looked even more handsome and charming than before. Look at these maidens ogling at our senior apprentice brother. The junior disciples mumbled to each other after noticing their stares. It's not surprising at all, since senior apprentice brother's charm is irresistible. I cannot wait until I become an adult and offer my pure yin essence to senior apprentice brother. Sometime later, the 3 sects arrived before the Colosseum, but as one would have expected, the place was crowded with people. This is crazy. It's almost like I am standing before the ocean, but instead of water, there's people. The junior disciples cried out loud after seeing the massive amount of people trying to enter the Colosseum. So what if there's a lot of people? Would they dare to block us? Bai Lihua said as she stepped forward. Bai Lihua suddenly cleared her throat, and it was as loud as thunder, causing all of the people there to turn around and look at her. It's the Heavenly Swan Sect. The Burning Lotus Sect is also there. Even the Profound Blossom Sect, who will be fighting in today's final match. Why are they coming here together? Haven't you heard? They have all formed an alliance with each other, so it's not weird for them to be together. Once the people there realize their identities, the ocean of people splits in half, allowing them to pass through without any efforts. Chapter 420. Don't you recognize your own fiancé? Good luck, Su Yang. Wang Xuren said to him after they entered the Colosseum, and she continued, by the way, I have found a place for your meeting. Just let me know when you want it to happen and I'll organize it for you. Because of the Earth advancement pills, Wang Xuren has been bombarded by nearly family and sect in the eastern continent for the past several days, all of whom wish to meet the mysterious pill master or simply want to buy some Earth advancement pills. I will have to see the situation after the regional tournament. I will let you know afterward, said Su Yang. I understand. There's already over 100 families and 70 sects that have notified me of their desire to participate in the meeting, so there will be plenty of people there. Wang Xuren nodded. Once they were inside the Colosseum, the Heavenly Swan Sect and the Burning Lotus Sect gave the Profound Blossom Sect a few words of encouragement before leaving them alone to head to the spectators' area. This is it, huh? To think I was doubting that we could reach this point just a few weeks ago. Liu Lanjai showed a defeated smile. After waiting around for some time, Zidong walked onto the stage with a calm expression, yet the excitement in his eyes could not be hidden. I, Zidong, welcome everybody here today for the final match of the regional tournament. The audience roared with excitement. Even though most of you here already know their names, allow me to properly introduce them again, Zidong continued. First and foremost, we have the Azure Cloud sect that has recently been bestowed the title of Elite, becoming an elite sect, and carrying them to victory since day one is their #1 disciple, Hong Yuer, who is shocking at the heavenly spirit realm despite her young age. Next, we have their opponents, the Profound Blossom Sect, and despite their lacking number of disciples and complex situations, they have managed to shock the world with their beauty and prowess. Furthermore, they also have someone at the heavenly spirit realm, Su Yang, who is not only the sect master of the Profound Blossom Sect, but also a member of one of the 4 great families, the Su family. What? Since when were sect masters allowed to participate in the tournament? I have never seen anything like this before. Some of the audience were puzzled. There's actually no rule stating that sect masters cannot participate. As long as they meet the age and cultivation requirements, they are allowed to participate, said someone more knowledgeable on the rules. A few moments later, Zidong said, now without further ado, let's invite these 2 spectacular sects onto the stage. Woo! The cheering from the audience reached an all-time high. A few moments later, 2 sects, the Profound Blossom Sect and the Azure Cloud Sect, walked onto the stage and stood before each other. Su Yang and Hong Yuer silently stared at each other with a profound gaze. Even though this is Su Yang's first time standing so close to her, he feels as though they have known each other for hundreds of years already. As for Hong Yuer, she merely showed him a smile. She's smiling. This is the first time I have seen her smile in such a manner. The Azure Cloud Sect's disciples were shocked to see such an expression on Hong Yuer's face, as they were used to seeing a serious expression on her face. Bow. Zidong shouted and the 2 sects bowed to each other. Good luck, may the best ones win. Gu Guanting said to Liu Lanjai. Good luck to you and your disciples too. Liu Lanjai nodded. After greeting each other, they sects walked to the edge of the stage. Sect Master, who should we send first? One of the disciples asked Gu Guanting. Let's wait and see what the Profound Blossom Sect decides to do first, he responded after a moment of pondering. Meanwhile, on the other side, Liu Lanjai asked, who should we send first, Su Yang? Su Yang shrugged and said, it doesn't matter who goes first because we will win in the end. Then let's wait a bit to see what the Azure Cloud Sect does first. Many minutes have passed, yet neither side has decided on their first fighter. Are you guys going to be sending your fighter anytime soon? Zidong got tired of waiting after a few more minutes of pure silence. Oh, one moment, Liu Lanjai said. We will send ours soon, Gu Guanting also said. Fine, but make it quick. Zidong shook his head and continued to wait for them. There's no point in this farce, Hong Yuer suddenly said. The result of this match will depend on my match with Su Yang. Then I will go first. Hong Yuer suddenly said, what? But you need to save your energy for your fight with Su Yang. What if they send out the others to waste your energy? Gu Guanting said with a frown. You don't have to worry about that since. Hong Yuer pointed at the stage. What? Gu Guanting turned to look at the stage, where a handsome young man was walking to the center. He's going first. Gu Guanting's eyes widened with surprise as he did not expect Su Yang, their strongest member, to approach the stage first. Hong Yuer, what are you waiting for? Come up here and let's have a talk." Su Yang spoke loudly after reaching the center. Hong Yuer showed a slight smile before jumping onto the stage, standing only a few meters before Su Yang. "Su Yang, it's been a while," she said to him with an adoring gaze, almost like she's finally meeting her lover after many years of separation. "A while, you say, but exactly how long is a while?" Su Yang asked her. "Are you really Hong Yuer or someone else? What's wrong, darling? Don't you recognize your own fiancé?" She chuckled charmingly, causing everybody there to feel as though their hearts were squeezed. Chapter 421, Fighting with Hong Yuer. Hey, did you hear that? Hong Yuer just called herself his fiancé. The audience quickly realized what was going on. If I recall correctly, the Hong family and the Su family has always been in a good relationship, so it's not weird for them to be engaged. Damn, so Hong Yuer was taken all along, and by the Su family of all places. Now I look like a freaking fool for trying to court her the other day. I seriously hope the Su family won't be looking for those who tried to court Hong Yuer, or that'd be disastrous for all involved. Meanwhile, Su Yang remained a nonchalant expression and spoke. "Your sword style. Although I thought it only looked similar at first, the more I watched you fight, the more I am certain that it was created from the sword technique Vanishing Sword Dance, and there are only two people I know of that know that technique." Hong Yuer remained calm with a smile on her face, and she said, "So, what about it? One of these individuals is dead and the other one should be in a place far, far away now. Which one are you?" Hong Yuer was speechless for a moment before saying, "Which one do you think I am? I already have my guesses, but I want to hear it from your own mouth." Su Yang said, "I will tell you if you beat me," Hong Yuer suddenly said. Su Yang smiled and said, "Even though I haven't shown all my strengths, you should know that you cannot defeat me. We won't know that until I try." "Ha ha ha," Su Yang suddenly laughed. "What's so funny?" Hong Yuer raised an eyebrow. "I see." Su Yang nodded his head as though he finally realized something. "Although I have a load of questions for you, I will save them for after the tournament. Come at me." Su Yang drew the sword by his side and pointed it at Hong Yuer. Hong Yuer also unsheathed her sword and spoke. "It's been a while since I was serious." The instant the both of them drew their blades, an overwhelming aura appeared and surrounded the entire Colosseum, causing the millions of people there to feel as though they were being choked by an invisible force. What an intense pressure! So this is a battle between two heavenly spirit realm cultivators. No, this is something that surpasses even that. I have seen heavenly spirit realm cultivators fight before, but it was not as intensive as this. Here I come, darling. Hong Yuer suddenly rushed at Su Yang, but her movement techniques were completely different than before. What kind of movement technique is that? I am certain that it does not belong to our sect. Gu Guanting was dumbfounded by her actions. Moving as though you are entering and exiting the void steps, huh? You're not even trying to hide your identity anymore. Su Yang said with a smile as Hong Yuer closed their distance almost instantly. "You said that you already know my identity, so why do I need to hide it anymore? I could have been lying to you so you would do something like this, right? You could have, but I know you too well, darling." "Of course you do." As Su Yang and Hong Yuer exchanged hundreds of blows with each other within a few moments, they also chatted with each, making it seem as though they were dancing with each other. Only a few minutes have passed since the two began swinging their swords at each other, yet the entire arena looked as though it had been a battlefield for years already. And with a single swing from each of them, there would appear another dozen or so deep cuts on the arena floor. What the hell am I watching? Is this really a fight between two juniors? Even if their cultivation are impressive, their movements and techniques are beyond even the most seasoned experts in this world. Elder Zhang watched them with wide eyes, seemingly in disbelief. The difference between their swordsmanship was simply too vast, like heaven and earth. If I compare myself with them, I would only embarrass myself. What divine swordmaster! I am probably not even a real swordmaster in their eyes. Even Lord Zai couldn't help but be amazed by their performance. My girl, watch this fight seriously. Even I am learning new things as I watch them fight. Lord Zai said to his daughter, who nodded with a serious expression on her face. As expected of the one who stomped the entire Burning Lotus sect by himself, huh? To think I wanted to defeat a monster like him at one point. How ignorant I was. Lin Xiaoshang sighed after realizing that she'd been a frog in a well this entire time. Su Yang, he's really amazing, too amazing, in fact. Hong Yuer too. It's almost like they do not even belong in this world. Fang Zhelin spoke with a slight smile on her face. Sun Jingjing, who was aware of Su Yang's real identity, showed an awkward smile after hearing Fang Zhelin's words, who wasn't far from the truth. In fact, she was right on the money. I see that you're still using the 9 astral steps, darling. Hong Yuer suddenly said to him. Of course. Then let's see who's better at it, me or you. Hong Yuer's movements suddenly changed, dumbfounding the audience. Look. Hong Yuer's initiating Su Yang's movement techniques. How is that possible? Sun Jingjing said while pointing at her. And she's doing it perfectly too. It's not as simple as imitation, there's more to it than that. It's almost like she has also practiced the same technique. Liu Lanjai said, what? That's even more absurd. 9 astral steps, huh? As I thought, you're really... Su Yang showed a perplexed expression on his face. Does this mean that you have died in that world? Is it because of the war after all? He asked her with narrowed eyes. How did you know about the war? Hong Yuer stopped fighting and stared at him with wide eyes. It's a bit complicated, so I will explain that to you later, Su Yang said. Then I will also explain my situation to you afterward, but you don't have to worry, darling, since I am not dead yet. Hong Yuer said with a smile. What? Then how in heaven's name are you? Su Yang was dumbfounded. If she didn't die in the 4 divine heavens, how did she appear in this world and in Hong Yuer's body? I will explain everything to you after the tournament ends, but for now, fight me properly, darling, Hong Yuer said to him. Su Yang nodded and grasped the sword in his hand even tighter. Here I come, Hong Yuer, or should I call you Tang Lingxi? Chapter 422, Tang Lingxi. After their short break, Su Yang and Hong Yuer, also known as Tang Lingxi, began fighting again. After many minutes of exchanging blows with each other and still showing no signs of the victor, Zai Dong suddenly said to them, Hey, how long are you two going to do this? At this rate, you'll demolish this entire arena before you are even tired. He's right, darling. We can fight like this for hours and neither of us would win, Hong Yuer said. Then what do you suggest? Heaven-consuming strike. You should remember this technique, right? Let's end it with that. Su Yang showed a smile and said, Didn't you hear the old man? He doesn't want the arena to be destroyed, yet here you are, suggesting something that will definitely demolish this entire Colosseum, perhaps even the city. Of course, I am not suggesting that we should attack each other with the technique. Although yours might be a different story, this fragile body wouldn't be able to handle that much stress. Let's see who can emit the most energy with technique. I see, Su Yang nodded. Very well. Even though you're not in your real body, you have an advantage over me, isn't that right? Usra God Clan's little princess, Tang Lingxi. Hong Yuer showed a smile and said, Let's do it. A moment later, both Su Yang and Hong Yuer stopped moving and turned completely silent. However, their aura grew stronger and stronger until it was strong enough to appear physically and cause sparks in the air. What a terrifying aura. What are they trying to do with so much energy built up? Zai Dong became increasingly worried. At this rate, their next attack might blow away the entire arena. First, Usra's secret, heaven-consuming strike. Both Hong Yuer and Su Yang's eyes glowed with a profound light, and their swords trembled intensively before black flames appeared and engulfed the blade. A few seconds later, the floor around them was beginning to burn, and the air became filled with a burning smell. By now, the entire Colosseum was covered by a tyrannical pressure that none of them have experienced before, not even Lord Zai. It was difficult to breathe under such pressures, much less speak, so the entire place was dead silent. "Are they trying to destroy my city?" Lord Zai cried inwardly after witnessing their astonishing energy that was still rising. The energy being emitted by Su Yang and Hong Yuer was so powerful that even the Zai family's ancestor, Lord Zai's father, had to appear just in case he had to protect the crowd. What kind of technique is this? Even immortal-grade techniques do not emit such a terrifying aura. This young man is always full of surprises. The old man wondered to himself as he prepared to intervene. Hong Yuer stared at Su Yang with narrowed eyes, seemingly in deep thoughts. Su Yang, on the other hand, stood there with a carefree smile. A few moments later, Hong Yuer retracted her energy and placed the sword back in its sheath. "You crazy bastard, why and how do you have celestial chi in your body? I can't imagine this small place would have celestial chi." Hong Yuer asked him, still with a frown on her face. "I don't know," Su Yang shrugged with a serious expression. "I noticed it inside my body one day." "You unbelievable." Hong Yuer sighed and shook her head. "You have any idea how dangerous it is for a mortal to have celestial chi in their body? Even immortals wouldn't dare to handle celestial chi without the help of a supreme being." "Of course, I know that. But since it's already inside my body, there's nothing I can do about it. Furthermore, I seem to have complete control over it." "Wait, you tried using it?" Hong Yuer stared at him with an unbelievable face. "I infused it with the heaven-consuming strike once, and its sheer power nearly killed me." "Haha," Su Yang laughed in an awkward manner. "How can you be so reckless? You could have died." "Well, I am still alive now, so it's fine." No, it's not just this instance. You are always so reckless, even in your previous life. Do you have any idea how I felt when I learned of your sudden death?" Hong Yuer suddenly dropped her sword and ran towards Su Yang before embracing him tightly. "Hong Lingxi," Su Yang mumbled her name in an intimate voice. "I'm sorry for making you worry about me all the time." "Eh, what's happening here?" Zidong was puzzled by the two's sudden passionate embrace. Are they still fighting or not? When Zai Xingfeng witnessed Hong Yuer embrace Su Yang, she felt as though an invisible force was squeezing her heart, causing her to feel uncomfortable. 2,000 years. It's been 2,000 years since you last embraced me, even though you promised me that you'd marry me 1,000 years ago. "I'm sorry, I'm really sorry, Lingxi." "Excuse me, I hate to be the one to interrupt your lovely reunion, but there's a tournament going on right now," Zidong suddenly said to them. "Let's continue this topic later, darling." Hong Yuer wiped the tears in her eyes and took a few steps back. Su Yang nodded. A few seconds later, Hong Yuer raised her hand and spoke loudly. "I surrender this fight, it's my defeat." "What?" Almost everybody there shouted in a shocked voice. "What are you doing, Hong Yuer? Even if he's your fiancé, you can't just give up so easily," Gu Guanting said to her with a desperate expression. To think they'd come so far just to lose in such a manner. This would haunt him for the rest of his life. "Were you even watching us just now?" Hong Yuer said to him with a nonchalant expression. "Did you think that we were only showing off our aura just now? Even if I use all of my strength, it's not even to defeat him." After all, her body has no celestial chi while Su Yang did, and the difference between regular chi and celestial chi is so vast that even words cannot describe it. Chapter 423 First place. I can't believe it. To think Hong Yuer would surrender herself. Bai Lihua was dumbfounded by the outcome of the tournament. This means that we are the champions. Liu Lanjai's entire body was shaking from shock and bafflement. Although they still have 9 fighters left, they won't be able to defeat us, much less Su Yang, who is still on the stage and as energetic as ever. Fang Zhelin said with a B, "I don't believe it. Is this real, or am I just having a really long dream?" Liu Lanjai stared at the stage with a dazed look. "Don't worry, Sect Master. You are living in reality right now." Sun Jingjing chuckled at her. After Hong Yuer surrendered the match, the Azure Cloud sect disciples turned to look at Gu Guanting, their sect master, with worrying eyes. Sect master, what should we do now? Even if we go onto the stage, we won't even be able to touch him, much less defeat. That's right, sect master. Even if all of us fight him together, we still won't be able to win without senior apprentice sister Hong. Gu Guanting rubbed his temples and sighed. I know. You don't have to tell me anything. Without Hong Yuer, we have lost this one. A few moments later, Gu Guanting stepped onto the stage and said to Zai Dong, the Azure Cloud sect forfeits this match. Holy shit! The Profound Blossom Sect actually managed to defeat the Azure Cloud Sect defeated Hong Yuer. The audience was in shock. Despite some of them already expecting this, they didn't think it would end in such a manner. The Azure Cloud Sect has forfeited the match, making the Profound Blossom Sect the champion of this year's regional tournament. Let's give the Profound Blossom Sect some noise for celebration. After Zai Dong's announcement, the entire Colosseum exploded with weird and beastly noises, causing the air to shake. Sometime later, when the noises calmed down, Lord Zai stood from his seat, causing the remaining noise to instantly disappear. Zai Xingfeng also stood up, and both of them slowly approached the stage where the Profound Blossom Sect was standing. We greet your majesty. The disciples and Liu Lanjai lowered their heads and bowed to him. Of course, Su Yang remained standing there with a nonchalant expression. Lord Zai looked at Su Yang with the corner of his eyes before ignoring him. Congratulations on your victory, Profound Blossom Sect, Lord Zai said to them. None of this would have been possible if not for your hard work, and this is especially true for the sect master, who has clearly guided you towards the right path. Although your practices may differ from the norm, it is the results that matter, and I must say, it is quite impressive. These juniors, all of you standing before me today, is the sign of a new era in the world of cultivation, and I cannot wait to see what you will show me in the future. Thank you, Your Majesty, for his kind words. The disciples remained bowing. Lift your heads, Zai Xingfeng suddenly said to them in a gentle voice. When the disciples lifted their heads, they saw Zai Xingfeng holding a golden box in her hands. Here are the rewards for coming in first place in the tournament. Zai Xingfeng opened the golden chest and revealed to them the items inside. There are 10 large storage pouches and 5 medium storage rings with 10 million spirit stones inside. Accept it. Zai Xingfeng handed the items to Liu Lanjai, who hastily went to accept it. Thank you, Your Highness. Liu Lanjai accepted the reward with shaky hands. As for the 2 heaven-grade spiritual treasure and the cultivation techniques, you can pick them once you visit the Zai family later. Zai Xingfeng said to her. We are going to the Zai family. Liu Lanjai looked at her with a dazed face, completely forgetting about the other rewards. Zai Xingfeng laughed softly and said, Did you forget that the champion of the tournament will also get the privilege to enter the celestial pond for 7 days? Don't forget about the dinner either. Oh, right, I totally forgot about those rewards. Liu Lanjai showed an embarrassed smile. After handing Liu Lanjai the rewards, Zai Xingfeng turned to look at Su Yang. A moment later, she walked in front of him and lifted the veil covering her face, shocking everybody there with her beauty. Heavens! Fairy Zai is even more beautiful than in my imaginations. How can someone so beautiful exist in this world? The audience gasped in shock after witnessing Zai Xingfeng's beauty. I even told you to not reveal your face here. Lord Zai shook his head at her actions. It'd be rude of me to speak with Su Yang with my face covered after all. Zai Xingfeng said with a smile and turned to look at him. Congratulations on winning the tournament, Su Yang, she said to him. Although I'd like to speak with you more, this is not a suitable place. Don't worry, we can talk all you want during our dinner later, Su Yang responded with a smile. Zai Xingfeng nodded with a slightly red face. Meanwhile, the disciples and Liu Lanjai looked at them with wide eyes. They simply couldn't believe what they were witnessing. Since when did Su Yang become acquainted with the princess of the Zai family? And they even appear to be quite intimate with each other. Ahem. Lord Zai cleared his throat after seeing their lovely atmosphere and said, "Anyway, as the new champion for the first time in history, you should say a few words to the people here." Liu Lanjai looked at Su Yang and said, "You should do the talking. After all, you are the only reason we are even standing here today." Su Yang nodded and took a few steps forward, standing completely in the spotlight at this moment. The entire place was dead silent as everyone waited for him to speak. However, right as Su Yang opened his mouth, Lord Zai suddenly turned to look towards the sky and shouted, "Who's there?" His words caused everyone there to turn their attention to the clouds. A few moments later, a figure descended from beyond the clouds and floated slightly above the arena. A goddess. It's a real goddess. The audience was shocked to see this beauty's sudden appearance. In fact, her mere presence was so overwhelming that she'd sealed the ability to breathe from everyone there for a good moment. Su Yang's eyes widened with surprise upon seeing this individual. Ku. He mumbled her name. Chapter 424. Ku returns. Ku's sudden appearance shocked every individual there, with some people even unconsciously lowering their heads to her. Even Hong Yuer couldn't believe her eyes. Those silver hair, her eyes that shine like the moon at night, and her unique divine aura. These are characteristics of someone from the sacred Moon Temple. But why would someone from that clan be in this place? After Ku's appearance, Lord Zai's father, the old man suddenly appeared before her and clasped his hands with respect and spoke. "This old man is Zai Wang of the Zai family that reigns over this continent. What is the purpose of your visit to this place, esteemed senior?" "What? Father?" Lord Zai was dumbfounded. He has never seen his father this serious and respectful towards another individual before. Ku glanced at Zai Wang with the corner of her eyes and spoke, "I have no business with you. Go away." Zai Wang was speechless. This is the first time in his life that he's been treated with such disrespect. However, he could sense an overwhelming amount of spiritual energy from Ku, making him feel powerless. Even if he wanted to talk back, he didn't dare. If he offended her, who knows what she might do to this place or the Zai family. After all, even with his sovereign spirit realm cultivation, he was unable to see her real strength, suggesting it to be at a level that's far beyond his own. After ignoring Zai Wang, Ku turned her attention to Su Yang, who was glaring at her with a puzzled gaze. "Father, come with me. I have finally found a clue that might help us return home." Ku revealed this shocking information to Su Yang via spiritual sense. "What? Is that true?" Su Yang's eyes widened with shock and he unconsciously smiled with happiness. Ku nodded and said, "However, I need your help with it before I can be certain." Ku then waved her sleeves, making her luxurious flying boat appear in the sky, shocking the people there even further. "What kind of spiritual treasure is that?" Lord Zai cried inwardly. "Let's go, Su Yang, we don't have much time." Ku urged him. Su Yang nodded and immediately jumped onto the ship. "Su Yang, where are you going?" Liu Lanjai suddenly said to him. "Don't worry about me, I will be back soon," Su Yang said, and then he turned to look at Hong Yuer and continued, "Come with us." Hong Yuer did not question him and also jumped onto the boat, dumbfounding Ku. Who is this little girl? Why are you bringing her with us?" Ku asked him with a puzzled face. "I will explain on the way," he replied. Ku nodded, and the next instant the flying ship began moving and disappeared from the Colosseum like a ghost. Meanwhile, the entire Colosseum was dead silent. It was so quiet that even a pin drop could be heard miles away. What happened just now? Why did Su Yang and Hong Yuer suddenly leave with that woman? Sun Jingjing was the first to break the silence. "I see. I understand what's going on." Zai Wang suddenly descended from the sky. "Grandfather, what do you know?" Zai Xingfeng asked him with an anxious voice. That woman, she's most likely someone from the Holy Central Continent, and she's probably also Su Yang and Hong Yuer's master. Zai Wang explained his thoughts. That's the only logical explanation to her otherworldly presence and why they followed her without any questions. Su Yang's master, that woman. Sun Jingjing was dumbfounded. I have long suspected that he had a hidden master teaching him, but to think that master would be so, Lord Zai sighed. Even he was lost for words by her majestic presence and otherworldly beauty. Since she's his master, I don't have to worry about it too much. Liu Lanjai sighed in relief. Anyway, now that Su Yang is gone, who will give the speech? Lord Zai looked at the Profound Blossom Sect. I will do it, Liu Lanjai said and stepped forward. I apologize for the disturbance just now. Apparently Su Yang's master had come to pick him up for some reason. Liu Lanjai said to the audience. So that was his master. No wonder why he's so powerful. To have such a beautiful and powerful master, just how lucky is this bastard? Since Hong Yuer also followed them, she's probably Hong Yuer's master too. A few moments later, Liu Lanjai continued. The Profound Blossom Sect. Despite our difficult situation, we somehow managed to win the regional tournament. Some of you may think that I had something to do with our victory, but that is wrong, as it was my disciples that made it all happen, especially Su Yang, who personally trained these disciples all by himself for the last few months. If not for him, I doubt we would have won today. What? That young man trained all of these disciples by himself. How is that even possible? The audience was in shock. Su Yang had told me that he would be training the new disciples as well, so in a few months, the Profound Blossom Sect will be conducting its entrance exam for new disciples. Furthermore, the Profound Blossom Sect will undergo an unprecedented change starting today, as we will no longer be focused solely on dual cultivation, so that even those who do not wish to practice dual cultivation may join. What? The Profound Blossom Sect disciples looked at Liu Lanjai with wide eyes, as this is their first time hearing this information. Of course, if you wish to practice dual cultivation instead, you are free to do so. Liu Lanjai continued to speak, using this chance to advertise the Profound Blossom Sect's desire for new disciples before millions of people. That is all I have to say today. If you wish to know more, please visit the Profound Blossom Sect at any time. Once Liu Lanjai stopped talking, the audience exploded with cheering and excitement. After seeing what the Profound Blossom Sect is capable of, I will surely take the entrance exam. I also want to join the Profound Blossom Sect. The crowd expressed their desire to join the Profound Blossom Sect openly, causing Liu Lanjai to smile. Unbelievable. To think you would use your victory speech as an advertisement for your sect. Lord Zai laughed. Was I not supposed to? Liu Lanjai began sweating profusely. Ha ha ha, you can say whatever you want since you have earned that right, Lord Zai said. Anyway, this is the end of the regional tournament. Thank you all for coming here, especially the participants. But before we all disperse, I will dispute the rewards for those in the top 10. Thus, the top 10 sects all lined up before Lord Zai as he handed out the rewards. Chapter 425, Returning to the Four Divine Heavens. End of vol. 7. Qiyu explained the situation. What did you find? Su Yang asked her while they traveled on the flying boat. Qiyu nodded and began explaining. I have traveled aimlessly for the past few months, hoping that I'd run into something that could bring us home. And as I was flying over the southern region, I sensed a familiar energy and decided to investigate it. Once I investigated the source, it turned out to be a portal with an unknown destination. And the energy emitting from the portal reminds me of the four divine heavens, but I am not 100% certain, so I decided to return first and let you take a look at it. I see. Su Yang nodded and began to ponder. A few moments later, Qiyu turned to look at Hong Yuer and asked, Are you going to tell me why she's with us now? Oh, right. Su Yang suddenly came to the realization and said, "But before I introduce her to you, I think she should know who you are first." He turned to Hong Yuer and said, "This is Yu, and as you can tell by her unique appearance, she's from the Sacred Moon Temple." Sacred Moon Temple? Why would someone from that secluded place be in this world? Hong Yuer asked. Long story short, she's Yuhai's daughter, and she's being hunted by the Sacred Moon Temple now. As for how she got here, she entered the ancient portal of the four heavenly realm without setting a destination, and ended up in this place by pure coincidence. Su Yang gave her a short but detailed explanation. "This is also how I know about your war with the Heavenly Emperor. Yuhai's daughter. If this doesn't prove that fate is real, I don't know what will." Hong Yuer looked at Yu in a different light now. Then she realized something. "About Yuhai, you know what happened to her, right?" Hong Yuer asked him with a worried expression. "I know." Su Yang closed his eyes, trying to hide the sorrow in his eyes. "If you want, I can get my clan to." "No, the Sacred Moon Temple is my problem. I will personally deal with them after I return." Su Yang shook his head. "I see." Hong Yuer nodded. "Now that you know who Yu is, I will introduce you to her. I can introduce myself, darling." Hong Yuer suddenly said. "Dee darling." Yu stared at her with wide eyes. Hong Yuer stood up and placed her hands on her chest and spoke in a prideful manner. "Although I am currently called Hong Yuer, this is not my real body, as I am merely possessing it for the time being." "You're possessing that body?" Su Yang was dumbfounded. "That's right. After your death, I led the Usra God clan and declared war against the Heavenly Emperor. However, after fighting for a few hundred years, I was suddenly approached by this old man with an unknown background." An old man? Su Yang was in disbelief. Could it be the same old man who put him into this place? But how did he leave the eternal retribution cliff? That is a place where once someone enters, they will remain there for the rest of their life. Hong Yuer nodded and continued. "He told me that you were actually alive, but of course, I didn't believe him at first, so he told me that he'd prove it. Even though he said that, he had me wait a few hundred more years before giving me the soul-invading pill." Soul-invading pill? Su Yang was shocked. The soul-invading pill is a precious yet forbidden treasure that allows one to invade another individual's soul and take over their body for a short period of time. I consumed the soul-invading pill, and that old man led my soul to this girl's body, allowing me to take over her body. However, I can only stay inside this body for 1 year, and half of that time is already gone, so I will be returning to my original body in half a year. I still couldn't believe that you were alive at that point, but I was desperate and foolish, clinging to the smallest of hope that you were still alive. And after searching through this girl's memories and seeing you, I was shocked to see you alive and well." "Why did that old man do something like this for you?" Su Yang asked. "He said that he wanted to stop the war before it got out of hand, so he allowed me to see you, taking away the only reason I had to fight the Heavenly Emperor." "I see. That makes some sense." Su Yang nodded. "By the way, what will happen to Hong Yuer after you return to your own body?" he then asked. "Well, even though I invaded her body, she's actually fully conscious and aware of what's happening even now. In fact, she even has some of my memories. But we have an agreement with each other, and as compensation for borrowing her body, I have helped her cultivate to the heavenly spirit realm and even shared some of my cultivation techniques with her." "Aren't you generous?" Su Yang chuckled. He then looked at Hong Yuer in the eyes and said, "I'm sorry that you were forcefully dragged into this. I will also compensate you for the trouble later." Meanwhile, Yu stared at Hong Yuer with wide eyes and a loose jaw, seemingly in disbelief. "Oh, right, I was in the middle of my introduction." Hong Yuer finally realized this and continued, "My name is Tang Lingxi, and I am from the Usra God clan." The Usra God clan? Yu began trembling in fear. To think she'd meet someone from the infamous Usra God clan in this place. "What's your relationship with Su Yang?" Yu asked Tang Lingxi despite her fear. Whether it be Hong Yuer or Tang Lingxi were betrothed with one another. What? Yu instantly turned to look at Su Yang and spoke. Is that true? You are betrothed to someone from the Usra God clan. Although it's a bit complicated, she's not wrong. Su Yang nodded without hesitation. And she's not just someone from the Usra God clan. She's the head's only daughter. In terms of authority, she is only below one person, who is her father. Impossible. Yu was in disbelief. What did he do that could possibly lead to such an outcome? Lingxi, so what you're saying right now is that the Usra God clan is no longer fighting with the Heavenly Emperor? Su Yang asked her. She nodded and said, since you are not actually dead, there's no longer the need to avenge you after all. Phew, Su Yang wiped the sweat off his forehead and sighed. Thank heavens that I no longer have to worry about that. Do you have any idea how worried I was when I heard that your family had started a war with the Heavenly Emperor? Su Yang said. I do, because that's how I felt when I suddenly received news of your death. No, it's even worse than that. Unless I speak with that old man again, I won't know what really happened to me. Su Yang sighed. Sometime later, Yu suddenly said, we're here. This is the location of the portal. Su Yang nodded and said, let's descend.